Hello. Fuck. I don't know how to introduce a video. It's been so long. Okay.
I'm here with Sproggy and Co. I don't
Sproggy and the
know.
boys. No. Fuck. That's gonna be boring. All right. You know what? I'm just gonna start. Um, Hello to this very weird list review we're doing for the Christmas Slaughter Doubles event. It's a really low key, low tech video. Obviously, as you can see by my awful video setup. Sprog can't even see me on his screen, so he doesn't realise I'm pointing at him. Speaking of Sprog, our last tournament winner has decided to join me so that we can talk about the upcoming lists in this said doubles tournament. Say hello, Sprog.
Hello, hello. Time
Excellent.
to be nice or nasty to certain lists.
Be nice and nasty is certain lists, and just remember, a lot of the people that you beat in the last tournament are indeed in this tournament, and you've decided not to turn up. So, big
You made it. You made it a doubles, and I have no friends.
yeah,
Let's just say that.
that's unfortunate. I
No, no,
do
no, no.
understand that the doubles. Don't worry, I'm sure you'll be back next year, and someone can get revenge on your Glotkin and your bloody MAGA Lords. Disgusting.
No, it's mainly I've never heard of doubles, so you'll have to explain to me what all the ins and outs of doubles.
You're right. You're right. So doubles, it's not the most popular style of playing Age of Sigmar, but I do think it is actually an incredibly fun way of playing the game in a less competitive way. Maybe it's not the tournaments you go to all year round, but that cheeky one, especially at Christmas time, it's actually a really fun way of playing. So what we do is each player gets two 1K lists. Boom, boom. Make sure you meet all the list requirements of said 1K list. So a hero, your general, two battle line, no more than two artillery pieces, etc., etc. And then you join them together to be one 2K list as a whole. And then when you go and play a tournament, it's really easy. You just play that list like it's a 2K list. Everything that you would do in a normal game, you do with that 2K list. Nice and simple, nice and simple.
It's so fascinating to me because it's like, as someone that only ever has played like 2,000 points competitive
Mm.
singles on my own, it's interesting, like, not just the social aspect of it and having to, you know, cooperate with someone else, another human, to try and kind of go with your strategies and ideas of what you want the game to look like, but also like list building sounds really interesting and fun, like the combos that you can come up with. Um,
Yeah, I think in a way it's kind of almost like teams. So when you're at a team event, you know just as well as I do that list building's completely different in teams singles.
yeah.
Like you have your specific list. We know our Sprog over there. He's bringing a list that's pure beefcake. He's gonna go in with his Glutkin and three MAGA Lords, and he's gonna like we're only putting him into the lists that does well against.
The
Um,
Monster Mash.
yeah, me
Monster Mash.
myself. Oh, we're gonna get Calvin in his bloody corn, and anytime we see a Seraphon player or a Lumineth player, boom, 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 like throw it at him. Like I think it's a little bit like that. It's not like as directed. We're not trying to counter as much in the doubles, but you can do a thing of being like, hey, my 1K part of the list is pure hammer. However, that's about it. I'm just gonna die in round two. And then the other player can go, oh, okay, I'll make a big, huge wall of meat and just hold the objectives while you go off and kill things. Like, you can just do that sort of thing.
I'm interested because 1,000 points. It's really hard to get everything you ever want in 1,000 points.
Oh,
Like
definitely.
have the screens, have the heroes. Is there a way of like one list having maybe more troops and another list having more heroes? And can the heroes from the other person issue commands to the units from the other guy's army or
Yeah.
other person?
So, your heroes again. It's that principle of it's 1 2K list, so it all acts together. As long as you meet those minimum requirements, you can't borrow things from your other list. So if you're building a 1K list and you've only got one battle line, you need to. You can't just be like, oh well, my Gits player is bringing tons of stabbers, so can I just borrow one of his battle line and use it? No, you can't do that. I'm afraid. You still need those two battle line units.
But you could have it like one person has one hero and the other person has three heroes,
Oh
and
yeah,
so
yeah.
you have heroes dotted around the battlefield.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that helps you out with your commands. Maybe you're running a lot of non-elite infantry with no champions, and you need some hero support to bloody give them commands. You can more than happy to do that. Get some boys in there. You bring a little blood secretor, so he's a totem piece. You put him down, and all of a sudden, 18 inches of commands to random people that just they can't usually get commands. That's perfectly fine, and a really good way of doing it, I think. Gives you that nice bubble of protection for inspiring presence, things like that.
Sweet.
But yeah, other than that, I think doubles is really a fun way to play, and it can make some really weird lists. I've found that a lot of people are taking things that you wouldn't see at 2K usually. Some things, absolutely, you would see at 2K because some people play those sort of lists. But other things, it's like, oh, people are bringing, I don't know, maybe they're in Khorne. I'm going to keep referencing Khorne a lot because I love the army. But maybe they're turning around and you're bringing Korgus Kull, and you're like, I don't bloody see him in any 2K lists. What the hell is he doing in here? But in 1K, he can be incredibly devastating. And I'm sure there's the same. Sprog plays a ton of armies. He's a bit of a tryhard actually, but we won't talk about that. But I'm sure you'll see a bunch of like Nurgle, Nighthaunt people bringing things that maybe don't always come up, which is nice. It's nice, and again, it's a casual event, so we'll see how that goes.
I do see on my screen the fun combination of Nighthaunt and Slash, and I do very much want to find out what's in there.
We'll get to them. Before we go into the first list, bam, and say, hey, well, we're looking at the Sublime Time with Slime and Shine. What a great team name.
That's amazing.
I do just want to briefly talk about the faction variety we've got going on. Again, for the 7th tournament I've ran in a row, Nurgle is once again the most popular faction.
Hey, we're just all hanging out in Birmingham. Birmingham's a slimy infested. No, I'm joking. I think it's just because they're a great all-round faction that's like they've been around for a long time. The book's really consistent, and there's a lot of things you can do with the book. Like you can go mortals, you can go demons, you can go mixed, you can go like mobility. Nurgle doesn't seem mobility, but you can with the flies. So it's quite an open source book, and it's pretty forgiving.
I think so. I mean, obviously, everyone always talks about the 5-up ward army wide.
I mean, when your screens no longer become screens and like actual like anvils that can hold out against some pretty nasty assaults, very reliant.
It's very reliant. I also think, as you said, it's a very forgiving book. Like you can make a mistake, and with Nurgle, it's very difficult to massively punish it. There is a lot of ward turning off in the game now. The Khorne can do it, Gits can do it, Trollboys can do it. Quite a lot of people can turn off wards now, so it is starting to be a little bit easier to punish. Even cities, can't they, with their is it spell prayer?
The prayer. I mean, you need to be in a sub faction to do it, but absolutely. I guess the mortal side, you're still rocking a 4-up, 3-up save, so
pretty good.
Yeah.
Just ask the new Aura card, boys. Am I right? A 3-up save is actually a really big change and really.
I don't know if everyone knows this yet though, but the one thing that we were talking before the show that worries me with Nurgle is you've got rid of all the sub-faction tactics and you've got to do the generic ones.
That's a good point. Before we talk about that, that's a big point to make, because I have had a few people ask about it, and we were talking about it before the show. Obviously, for this doubles, some armies we can all agree we're Age of Sigmar players. We understand that some book battle tactics and grand strategies.
Big one.
Daughters of Cain. They literally get free battle at least three, just for turning up. Like they don't even really have to play the game. Like they've turned up, they've probably got those tactics. But even sleeper things like Zinch and their lovely Destiny Dice
Mm.
grand strategy, you're essentially starting the game with at 3-0. And it seems a bit unfair, and I thought it was a bit unfair to have a doubles where you could genuinely be like, look, I'm going to bring my 1k list. Can you bring 1k of Big WAGHH just to do all the battle tactics? Like, so,
I do like. I'm looking at Slash, and that's absolutely like Slash has like one really dumb battle grand strat, which is just don't summon, and you get your 3 points, and it's
yeah.
like okay.
See, we'll get distracted now, but I think that grand strategy for Slanesh really works, doesn't it? Because you're just trying to
Yeah,
get
it
points.
worked as a an interesting. That's something you could be summoning that could get you more points by getting things on the objectives, but
Yeah,
ultimately you could just turn up to the game and go, "Yeah, I've got 3 points, and there's nothing you
yeah.
can do about it."
I've always been really down on the Corn version of that again because they have the exact same battle tactic where they turn around and say all the blood type you use, if you don't use any for summoning, you get your grand strategy. And I always say that is the worst grand strategy we can take. But it is an instant 3 points. But maybe things are different for Corn because we don't get that 5-up ward, -1 to hit order. Like,
And I mean, Slash doesn't get to summon 20 bloodletters.
all right, all right, all right. Let's not talk
Anyway,
about Corn. Clearly,
uh,
clearly.
but this does bring a really interesting um, hurdle for all your players on your tournament because the generic grand strats and generic battle tactics are quite hard, I think. So
Oh yeah.
navigating that in the course of game, especially grand strat. Is it one grand strat or two grand strats per team?
One grand strategy per team. So you have to, as a 2K team, decide on a grand stratagem and you have to accomplish it together. Now, spoiler alert, about 70% of the bloody armies that, or the teams that are in this tournament have taken Spellcasting Savant. I think that one's pretty easy, especially in a 2K one with the strategies that are in the GHB. There are a couple hard ones, and then there are some marginally easier ones. And I think Spellcasting Savant might be really easy to punish for some teams. Like, it's super easy just to kill that general, right?
I
Um,
I was thinking about this because in like a 2,000 point normal game, like in a like if I was to go to a singles tournament, I'm not so worried if my opponent's got spellcasting savant because
no,
I can plot and plan that death of that wizard
yeah,
throughout the course of the game. Most of the armies that I play can reach that wizard at some point
well,
in the
exactly.
game, whether it's turn one or turn five. But I think it's actually rather than just say, oh, that's what they're going for, obvious one. It's actually quite interesting because unless both, like the team that you're opposing, unless both of them have like come together and gone right, we're both going to take long range shooting strategy, or we're both going to take like alpha charging, run up
Mm,
the field. Um, it's going to be fairly like it's not as planned. So
yeah,
these wizards might be able to just like sit on the battlefield and be okay because they're only having to if there is a long range threat, it's only coming from maybe one person,
yeah.
or if it's coming from both players, they've only taken like a one unit rather than several in a list. So I think spell casting savant was a very good choice.
I think
I
it's
mean, there
good.
were others.
I think it's again, it's still easy to punish, but as you really easily summed up, like at 1K, you've got less tools in your box,
Mm.
don't you? You
Yeah.
can't as easily unless you've both teams have been like you said, let's just do this one thing. You're very unlikely to have the same capability that you would have in a 2K list. Obviously,
I,
the trade-off is you probably have a fuck ton more utility in a 2K list.
and one grand strat and I quite like. I
Yeah.
wouldn't take in this, which is Overshadow, because Overshadow, you got to keep all your battle line safe and kill all your opponents. Well, if both of them are having to take the minimum amount of battle line, you're going to end up with games with more battle line than you would normally
Oh,
maybe end up with.
there's you
So
in this one, as yeah, exactly. There's a minimum of 8 battle line on the field at the start.
crazy.
2 more, like we'll get into it now. We'll look at it. In fact, let's have a look at that first team and let's see if there's already a problem if you were to take over Shadow against such a team. So, a sublime time with slime and shine, incredible name.
They win. Just give them a trophy. They win.
Yeah,
That name.
That name is perfect. So,
they get my vote.
They get your vote immediately. We'll come back to that at the end. Let's see if you still keep that. So it's a team captain, Toby. He's come to a couple of my events before. Incredibly good player, and he's partnered up with Frost, who hasn't been to any events this year. However, he is a very good player that keeps one eye on the meta, and that's all I'll say, because he's actually incredibly good. Hopefully, his time away from the table has made him rubbish, because when he's on the ball, he's quite difficult to compete with. So let's look at his list first. Hammers of Sigmar, Stormcast
It is just like 5 dragons. Is that what we're about to look at?
It's not 5 dragons. Okay, maybe. So Stormcast Eternal, Scion and Star, Hammers Owner. Weirdly, they've picked over Shadow. We'll see why in a second. But they've got that Knight Incantor as a general, Master of Magic and Mirror Shield, spells Hoarfrost. I think we know what they want to do with that general. Then
also like it's that's interesting. Knight Incantor, you've given yourself your team an auto unbind. So
yeah, they're lying in wait for you to turn around for magical dominance. You're never getting magical dominance off against these unless it's turn 5 after you've killed that Knight Incantor. Because
if you switched off all the sub-faction stuff, everyone is having to play with the generic battle tactics.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's going to be trying to go for magical dominance. So having, like, if you're within 30 of this Knight Incantor, you're just not getting it.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And, again, for me, specifically, I play Khorne and Ironjaws. So, for a lot of the time, I actually don't focus too much on the magical dominance. I sort of forget about it. But again, when I'm playing in the 2K list, I have book battle tactics and it's incredible. So I think that Knight Incantor pick is actually pretty bloody huge when you can't do your book battle tactics anymore. It just limits you. You're essentially saying kill him, or you can only do about 5 of the battle tactics, actually.
Here's a question, Ashura. Hoarfrost, can he target his friend's units?
Well, Hoarfrost, I do believe, unless I'm incredibly wrong, which I'm sure we can Google at the same time. Maybe you can Google it for me, because I don't want to miss anything. I am pretty sure it just says it's a friendly unit.
Yeah, so units from his opponent, from his ally,
yep.
They're friendly.
They're friendly.
Okay, so
Hoarfrost, they're friendly.
Hoarfrost makes a lot of sense in a doubles tournament then, because it's not a spell that you can sling onto your units; it's a spell that you can sling onto your buddy's units, and it might be you might see combinations of like armies that don't typically get wizards suddenly benefit from a Hoarfrost being thrown down onto them. So that's good.
Exactly, and like Hoarfrost, already incredible spell. Doubles, I think it's just delicious, chef's kiss. Like, you can take it, like maybe you're running with a team that doesn't have a wizard, and you can just buff them. Send in bloody 10 brutes, bloody 40 stabbers. I don't care what you do. Hoarfrost makes them incredibly good. But
looking at the list though,
yeah,
he doesn't really have that great a Hoarfrost target.
No, so we'll have to see whether his teammate does. But even without him having a good Hoarfrost target, we've got 3 big chunky hammers. Like, the Fulminators, I think we can all still agree, regardless of all the things that's happened in the meta and the shake-ups, the point increases, decreases, new things coming out, I think we can still agree that a Dracothian Guard Fulminator is an incredibly efficient War Scroll. For the points cost, what they can output is just bloody great.
They're great on the charge. If he gets the Fulminators on the charge, 3 damage, because they get the +2 damage if they charge. They're going to destroy anything in a 1,000 point list.
In a 1,000 point list, outside of something truly tanky, which maybe we'll come across. Spoiler alert. Yeah, I think if they charge,
Do
They
we know
will.
what holy command he's gone for? Has he gone for the run in charge holy command?
This is okay. This is a nice other segue into why we're doing this. This is still, for me, it's a good idea to obviously we look through the lists, make sure everyone's got everything that they need, and that no one has broken any rules. I would do it on my own, but I would really enjoy Sprog being here to help me along to do it because I'm only human. I do miss things. I got called out the other day for my FAQ for the tournament, and they
And what are
put
you saying? I'm a robot.
yeah, well, you're a robot, Sprog. You bloody know. And you know what? I wish I had you when I did my FAQ because I got a certain thing wrong. I thought that a weird thing for a Nurgle teammate is I thought they infected their team because I thought you always infected just non-Nurgle units. I didn't realise that even though it is Nurgle, it says any enemy unit that isn't Nurgle. So you don't actually infect your teammate, which is good because otherwise,
Un-
oh,
unless you run
unless
a Lord of Affliction who hurts everyone.
very true. And also, what is it? Turn 4 of your cycle of corruption, you do turn off any heroic action.
Yeah, that is funny.
Rally inspiring presence for non-knuckle heroes. So that's pretty funny. I like that. But yeah, if I'd had you around, I may not have made that error. So that's why Sprog's here today. And yes, we have seen that he hasn't put his holy command down. So hopefully we'll get on to Frost, the little loser. I'll give him a break though because I'm pretty sure he hasn't played a game in about 7 months.
We are missing the dragons in the room. I mean, oh, sorry, I should have said elephant in the room. Yeah, so he's also running two dragons as well. It's an interesting list.
It's an interesting
Um,
list. It's an
it's
interesting
it
list.
it's a lot of power.
Yes, it's a lot
It
of power.
looks it looks chunky. It actually is. It's very few wounds. The dragons, yeah, they're 18 wounds for 340 points.
Yeah.
Free up save, so they're chunky. They're
Well,
strong.
you know what?
Slap, slap a Mystic
While we're
Shield on them.
talking about it, let's go to the other sublime time with Lime and Shine.
They say those fulminators on 5 wounds apiece, like against mortal wounds, they'll drop. Let's have a look at their buddy. How does he?
Well, he look at but from the looks of it, I've done a pretty bad job about uploading this list. I think. Or actually, no, he did because it's his responsibility. I do know though he's running the befouling host for Nurgle.
Yeah.
So he's got a great and clean one and a sloppity bile piper. I think 1,000 points. That's pretty good, especially considering he's bringing 2 units of 10 plague bearers.
Yeah.
And two beasts of
Also,
Nurgle.
is the Guo running? Is the Great Unclean One running a bell?
He
Yeah.
is. He is.
So he is able to summon Sloppy's turn 1, and he can summon Beasts or Plague Bearers turn 2.
He does.
With
He's already
summoning.
got that sloppity in there. He's not even summoning him. But
Oh wow!
you are right. I was the same. I was there like wow. I'm surprised he's in there, especially as you said with the bell. Pretty easy to summon him turn 1. But I think this is the interesting thing to look at when you look between these two lists. You've got the very clear hammer here, and then the very clear anvil here. Like those plague bearers and the Guo are just going to walk up and sit on an objective, aren't they? Like in some battle plans, they'll cover an area and probably tag 2.
Oh, this is it. Those Plague Bearers, they look like, oh, he's just gone for the minimum battle line. That's 20 wounds on a 6-up save with a 5-up ward. It's enough. It's the tankiest screen you'll ever
Yeah.
see for 120 points.
And he does have that cheeky there. What's that? Oh, fleshy abundance. So those plague bearers are, unless you're against some incredible lists, maybe some Seraphon. We'll see those in a minute. He's probably getting fleshy abundance off, and he's probably getting those plague bearers even tankier. I
It's
also think
interesting. Go on.
I was just
Sorry.
going to say I also think Nurgle is a bit of a sleeper in one way where at 1,000 points, realistically, they're two 1,000 point lists, but you're thinking about this 1,000 points of Nurgle. Their summoning is never inefficient. Their summoning at 1k is the same at 2k, outside of things like Horticulus and
I think it's even better because they don't summon like raw value. Like we kind of laughed about the corn summoning 20 bloodletters, but
yeah,
they're not summoning anything hugely impactful. It's like a single beast or
yeah,
a hero or 10 plague bearers. Um, but it's consistent.
It's
And
very consistent.
in a 1,000 in 1,000 point little segments where no one's running like a triple reinforced unit, or I hope not. That costs like 700 points or whatnot.
Yeah.
Like these units that they're summoning in will be very, very strong and impactful. The one thing I question out this list is the inclusion of the Great Unclean One. There's 430 points. He's got to make his dues. He's got to kind of pay his points back. He's got to
I think
right.
surely I'm very confused about it as well because I know recently Toby's been playing the Rock Coven. Obviously, the Rock Coven at 1K is basically it's not a thing, but I know the Rock Coven's been getting a lot of love, and I think you saw him in the previous tournament as well where he played the Rock Coven.
Yeah.
Um, it's amazing in the current meta, the Rock Coven, because of the Merciless Blizzard, the easy way +3
I
cast.
was just about to whisper Blizzard.
Yeah, like it's
That's
very
good.
easy. However, not really playable in this. So he's changed over to Befouling Host, and he's taken a Great and Clean One. I think in 1K, the Great and Clean Ones. You've got to remember, like as you
It's
said,
hard
there's not
to-
a triple reinforced thing. There's no one's going to be bringing Scarbrand and another Bloodthirster to turn off wards and smash this guy's teeth in. No one's bringing Archeon, so no one's bringing that huge hammer that can just take a
Mm.
Guo off in one turn. Some armies still will. We'll probably get to those, but I think the Guo is a good one, and the Wither Stave just makes those mortals more consistent. I think
Well, it's Nurgling Infestation. It's the -1 to hit him, so
that's also really good.
he, he's most likely going to be throwing Mystic Shield on himself, Fleshy Abundance on one of the Plague Bearers. Um,
so,
yeah,
so maybe the last thing we talk about before this, actually, two things. One, did we see Suffocating Gravetide?
we did.
Did we want to say anything about it, or are we just gonna?
Uh, it's a great endless spell for 30 points.
Yeah,
It's there's two things I love about Gravetide. One is how big it is in real life. Like the base is huge,
bloody
which,
huge.
which can lead to a lot of interesting. Like the Stormcast player can set it up and effectively block out half of that Great Unclean One's engagement range, so it can't be swamped or mobbed,
Yeah,
which could be an interesting tactic. Um, I'm not sure how effective as a spell it is if everyone's taken 1,000 points. There's probably not going to be that many people reinforcing. I don't know. We'll find out.
we'll find out.
Um, so
I
the
think.
effectiveness of the spell's going to go down, but the utility of the spell's going to probably go up to protect that monster and kind of block out how much can mob
Yeah.
it.
What I will say is because I don't think we talked about. I think we kind of talked about it, but we didn't talk about it. So outside of faction specific endless spells, did you know in doubles that you are allowed to the Stormcast player is allowed to take an endless spell, and then the Nurgle player can cast it?
Really? Ah,
Because the faction specific ones, your Skaven, Warp Lightning Vortex, they have to be cast by a Skaven wizard. But as you know, in a 2K list,
and both people are one.
there you go, there you go. So
But
your friendly wizard can cast your friendly endless spell. So as long as someone's not bringing the Meteor for Stormcast, the Warp Lightning Vortex, you can still do some cheeky things and maybe make it a little more viable. It's a cool, interesting way to make points. Maybe your list was done at 900 points and you were like, I'm just going to take a Purple Sun or Gnash and Jaws, throw it in my list, and then the Seraphon player can cast it for me.
that's
Like,
really interesting. So you're not going to see anyone on 1970 then, because you are going to probably take that endless spell to allow both people to have that utility.
yeah,
So that's good.
it's
That's
good.
a really good idea. Yeah,
I
I
think
love it.
these two lists work well together. A classic proper hammer and anvil.
Yeah,
Um,
well, you've got the mobility of the dragons moving 12, running charge. You've got the fulminators.
no,
I'm guessing he's in the drop down faction. What they're
the
called, not
Scions of the
Storm.
Storm. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I'm guessing he's Silent of the Storm, so you can
yeah.
have some amount of those
Yes.
units come from the sky. So
And
yeah, really interesting dynamic of like slow but tanky and lots versus uh, sudden strike.
Mm.
Not many models, but hit hard.
Well,
So
exactly.
good.
So let's name and shame Bedworth War Games Club and Lewis Roberts. Where is
Ooh,
your list? Ooh, no cookie for you,
shame,
loser.
shame,
Shame.
shame.
But we will see you at the event. I will mock you shamelessly. You're not allowed to win the tournament now. That's being said right
Yeah.
now. Okay, so Captain Carter team. I think you're going to really enjoy this one. Nighthaunt
Yeah.
and Slanesh. You were excited beforehand. Let's have a look. So first up, the Nighthaunt, Scarlet Doom, Spellcasting Savant, grand strategy. Talk about that. All right, what are we working with here? Ooh, Guardian of Souls.
So
Um,
Guardian Souls, very expensive one caster, but does come with +1 to wound aura for his Nighthaunt, and obviously got Blizzard, so that's fun. And can bring back D6 models for a unit as a spell, which in a low cost game like this, that can be big.
does he have
Like
Blizzard? He has Eye of the Blizzard.
Eye of the Blizzard.
So
Oh,
he
Command
doesn't.
Rate, Eye of
Yeah,
the Blizzard.
he doesn't have
I know, I
Nemesis.
saw Blizzard. It's
Yeah.
like just like war flashbacks. You just see the white light of it. Yeah, just
I think we pro after this GHB and in July or June even. I think we'll all be having those flashbacks for a long time.
Eye of
um,
the Blizzard is a Dwellers of the Tundra. So he's decided no, the Nighthaunt commands aren't worth it. At the start of your hero phase on a 5-up, get a primal dice. So not
okay, fair enough. So you
not reliable.
not massively
But
reliable.
can end up. Yeah, I've just seen it. I was going to say, I'm guessing he's going for like a big endless spell to try and push through, and yes,
Well, let's talk about that. He's got the purple sun. Obviously, it's incredible for
great
Nighthaunt,
choice.
isn't it? It's a great choice.
It, yeah, well, there's no downside for
Yeah,
Nighthaunt. There's no downside. The -1 save doesn't matter because you're ethereal.
yeah.
I, just based on seeing this list, I think I can anticipate what's going to be up in the Slash one, but we'll find out.
Let's have a quick gander then.
Oh, go on.
Let's see if your thoughts are confirmed, and then we can
I,
discuss how they work as a team.
is
So
it
it's
is it Archers?
Godseekers,
Yeah, Lord of
Lord
Pain. Yes.
Pain, the Mask, Twin
Oh
Souls.
no.
You know
So
what?
respect.
I was
A
looking
lot of
through these
respect here.
lists. Yeah, I was looking through these lists last night. So for a lot of these, I'm actually seeing them with non 5 a.m. eyes. So this is quite.
No,
I was not expecting these. I was definitely
I
wasn't expecting this.
I saw Purple Sun, and I'm like, right, Nighthaunt. They brought the Purple Sun. They've probably got the artifact to auto cast it once per game, and then we've got just a bunch of archers in the Slash side to make use of that -1 save without
Yeah,
suffering from a -1 save.
happy
Uh,
days.
this is going to be interesting because the He Knights of Slash player, he's going to have to be careful of like that Purple Sun running around
Oh
because
yeah,
his
definitely.
units have only got like the Painbringers have got a 3-up save, but the Twin Souls have 4-up save. So yeah, it's an interesting one.
It's an I think I was with you. I was expecting to see just Bliss Barb archers, just Bliss Barbs, maybe some Bliss Barb seekers. So I'm surprised by all the melee, but I don't hate it because I love those models, especially the Twin Souls and the Painbringers. They're just
Well,
delicious.
that's Nighthorn are great on their turn, weak on their
Yeah.
opponent's turn, and I'm looking at the Twin Souls. That's -1 attack or a
Mm.
3-inch aura. The Hell Scourgers have a great ability when they charge. Um, he's definitely got tools to help out the Nighthaunt player.
Yeah, I think
The,
so. I think
the,
honestly,
the Fiend Bloods, yeah.
it's really good. I think there's going to be a lot of I'm sure he's hoping to get that depravity up as quick as possible because without it, I think he might get killed back on his turn relatively easy, especially if he's in that purple sun aura. He's probably banking on getting the -1 to hit as soon as possible. However, with a purple sun, your euphoric killers is gonna generate you a decent and more reliable amount of depravity points, I think.
My biggest worry when I see both lists side by side
Yeah.
is where is the damage coming from? Because they've got to pray and hope that those blade guys are getting the charge in.
Oh, I didn't see the Glaive Wraith Stalkers at the bottom. Yeah, I am with you here. Like, there's a lot of what I would call C to B tier threats, but nothing that looks like that thing smashes teeth.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good chip. They'll shred some bloody battle line apart unless you're probably 3 wound play bearers with a 5-up ward save sitting on an objective. But they'll shred some other battle line.
I'm sure they won't see that in this tournament. There'll hardly be any Nurgle.
Never. And you know what? Obviously, I want to focus on this list, but we didn't talk about the one thing about Nurgle which let them do what they do, which is all those points reductions. Very delicious. Like, I think before the points reductions, you would not have got 2 units of Playbearers, 2 Beasts and Nurgles, a Guo, and a Sloppity all in 1k. Like,
well, yeah. Beasts have gone from 120 to 100 points. Plague Bearers have gone from 150 to 110 or 120.
Yeah.
So, there's massive changes to the army. I worry about this pairing. They've got a lot of MSU, like a lot of minimum size units running around.
Yeah. If there's a Corn player in the tournament, they're loving this team. Utterly loving the Blood Tithe. Utterly.
There's not a lot of wounds.
No.
Comparatively, there's not a lot of defense, and there's just. I think they're going to struggle on damage. So it's going to come down to them being tricksy with their movement, using the fact that they've got multiple units to like spread the opponent out a bit and take objectives that move around, attack the opponent where they're weaker. Which Nighthaunt can do. They're quite fast moving, retreat and charge.
They're really
Slash are fast. So I think I can see where they're going with this. I can. They've got 2 fast moving, high mobility armies. Play it right. There's something there. But they can't play the conventional game. If they play the conventional game of we'll move up, you'll move up, we'll clash in the middle. I think they're going to suffer.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a good way to sum it up. However, I do think they've got the double battle reg. They're a 2-drop. If they dictate the pace of the game, that's probably where they win. If they can dictate when they go in, who they charge specifically, and they've got those flying units to make screens a lot less reliable, I think they could do it. I think they're a bit of a sleeper. You definitely don't want to take it easy on those guys. You want to punish them hard and fast before the depravity goes all the way up through the roof, before they pick off half your army with little things. I think it'll be really difficult for them to crack a castle, though. To crack a Nurgle castle or something, they're going to struggle.
Yeah, because again, they're Godseeker's host, so they're getting that pre-turn move with their units. So it's all about the mobility and whether they can utilize that mobility. And if the opponent can shut down it by engaging them early and killing units off,
tactics-wise, though, they're probably pretty happy with that. That's some really easy sads, surround and destroy. Some really easy into the vortexes.
With that many units, they've got bait and trap. They've got the charge multiple units in. Like they've got quite a bit access to led in the maelstrom, bait and trap. I'm looking at all this and I'm going, yeah.
This is pretty good. And you know what? Briefly, we'll touch on the battle plans as well, because the battle plans mean a lot to these armies and how they work. First up, every step is forward, nice and simple. You charge, you count as 2. You retreat, count as fuck all. So the Nighthaunt player doesn't really want to lean into their retreat and charge army wide. But I think it also works for them because they will have a turn where their entire army charges. So I think that works.
I gotta say, Nighthaunt hate that battle plan, but the fact that they've got a buddy to turn up with, they might be able to convince you stay in combat. Please stay in combat. We need someone to actually come on this objective. I'll come back. Don't worry. I'm retreating now, but I'll come back and join this combat with you. All right.
I promise. I'll get there. And I think
before they fail the charge roll.
Yeah, exactly. The second game plan, Fountains of Frost. I think for a lot of teams, Fountains of Frost is really weird, especially in the doubles. You naturally have more units on the board. It's going to leave.
Sure. Do you just want to watch the world burn?
Yes, I do. I've picked all battle plans, a lot different to the other ones that I've picked this year, where the other ones have been a bit more like balanced. The standard tournament ones, I've went for free, and we'll talk about the third one now. No risk without reward, or no reward without risk. Can't remember which. Free ones that are all really bloody weird and make you think a bit more about the thing, about your game plan. No reward without risk. I was talking to Sprog about this, and I've talked to several people. That deploy in the centre of the board, screw 9 inches away from your enemy territory. Let's deploy on the line with the enemy territory. Could be quite scary in this tournament.
Yeah. Yeah.
That Nighthawk player and the Slanesh player, they don't got far to go to get all their charges off.
The Twin Souls are going to have to suck it up and go in the center and hope that whatever they're meeting in the center isn't scarier than them.
Yeah. So that's what we've got to think about these lists. How well do they perform on these 3 battle plans? So I think let's look at the next one: Team Charizard, Soul Blight, and Nighthaunt. And let's see how they do. So again, another Nighthaunt player for you, Sprog. I know you love it. So the Quicksilver Dread this time, very nice. Spellcasting Savant.
That's no ward saves with the Harridan, so
Absolutely.
That's nice.
So
make Harridan line.
on Alena, that's pretty standard in my opinion.
-1 to wound makes a unit a little bit harder to touch. She's obviously got her spell, which might affect her allies. Actually, let me have a. That might be a good little techie. Bring in a Linda in and help your ally out.
That's a good point. Obviously, we talked about friendly spells affecting your teammates, but obviously a lot of the lore-specific spells to factions always say Nighthaunt.
Yeah, that's
it. So you've got to be careful. Some don't know. I'm pretty sure the Saurus Astrolith Bearer doesn't just give +1 to Seraphon Wizard, he gives +1 to wizards.
So, no, stop it. No, really.
No, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. And I'm pretty sure. Maybe not about Celestial Equilibrium, but I think it's either the Astrolith Bearer or Celestial Equilibrium that gives +1 to just wizards, not just Seraphon Wizards. So it's quite interesting. But anyway, that's Seraphon. Let's come back into this. So he's got those 2 units of Harridans to shred things up and say, "Oh, you've got a ward save." No, you don't.
It's only with the Harridans, though. That's the key point here. Yeah. So again, both Nighthaunt players are tapping into. I've got 2 units on. In this case, it's 3 units because you've got the Grimgrass unit, Grimgrass Reapers. But they're both kind of saying, right, I need to utilize these blocks of elite 10-man elite infantries as best as I possibly can. Because if I lose them, all I've got is support.
Yeah, again, maybe it is just Nighthaunt now. At the moment, I'm less versed on the Nighthaunt meta. I very rarely see them in tournaments at the moment, but I think that is just out when you're not at 2,000 points and it's not the full Nighthaunt thing, the full tech that they want to bring. I feel like this is kind of what you have to go into. You have to go into these big smacky units and hope they don't get killed.
It doesn't surprise me that they're trying to go for maximum amount of units because Nighthaunt are one of those that force multipliers. They want multiple units to get multiple charges off, get multiple debuffs for getting if you can give a unit -1 to hit, -1 save, fight last, get multiple stacks of -1 save onto a unit, which is interesting because that's one way that they do help an ally out. Is if they get a charge off, let's say they charge. We saw the other Nighthaunt list had those 2 cheap Grim Reaper units.
Yeah.
If they get a charge off, they're not there to do damage. They're there to try and get -1 save on their enemy for their ally.
Well, yeah. Which again, me personally, outrageous. I do not believe you should be able to multiple charge and give -5 to save. However, that's my pet peeve with the army.
But if you're an ally, you're a corn person, right? And you're going in with name me a corn unit that you want to go in with. I don't know.
Blood Warrior Blob, my 20-man Blood Warrior Blob sprinting in with a 3-up save.
And if they typically only have like Rend 1, maybe
Yeah,
you've got to pair off their Rend 2. But suddenly, this cheeky Nighthaunt ally of yours just charge 4 little Ghost in and confer -1 save to their enemies.
yeah.
Your Blood Warriors are now Rend 2, Rend 3, and that's far more scarier.
Incredible.
Yeah, far more scarier. So Nighthaunt are an interesting pick for 1,000 points because they feel weaker, but with the fact that you're conferring buffs, and we've just talked about how hard it is to confer buffs to both armies. Like
Yeah.
I've just looked, the Astrolith Bearer doesn't. It's just Seraphon.
Ah,
So
damn.
Nighthaunt being able to confer those charge debuffs,
Yeah,
and those debuffs will help out their allies because it's not you're not buffing Nighthaunt, you're debuffing your enemy.
yeah.
That can work quite well. So here, who are they allied with? They're allied with
They're allied
and
with the well, yeah. They're allied with another death unit, Soulblight Gravelords, Vycross. I'm not sure why he's put Empire of Corpses. He's not having it. I tell you that for sure. No book grand strategies. But he's got that Vampire Lord
oh, Necromancer,
and a Necromancer, and he's got
two
a
Necromancer.
bunch of skeletons.
Yeah,
I mean, as you said, he's got Hoarfrost in there as well. Sneaky boy, I love that. As you said, with those Nighthaunt being able to force multiply, being able to confer those extra -1 saves, etc. Death Rattle skeletons may actually hit up. Maybe they might actually hit up.
maybe.
I do think
This
there's again same as the last list. I'm not sure where the massive hammer is out of these two
no,
lists.
this combination of lists worry me for themselves because they like you've got a lot of shield and bulk. Like those skellies are durable. They can be brought back through the grave sites. But damage wise, I'm not seeing a way of like.
No,
There's no there's no blizzard. There's no
no,
shooting. There's no combat monster. Like it's down to the Harridans again,
yeah,
and more so this combination. Like we've just talked about the charges given debuffs.
yeah.
Maybe Skellies, Ren free Skellies could do something. I don't know.
Re-
But
I mean, I think that's the pipe dream, isn't it? It's a big big reinforced unit with Hoarfrost, with Renfree, and then maybe the Nighthaunt player charges up to give that -1, -2 saves,
Empire Lord gives them +1 attack.
plus
Yeah,
one
yeah.
attack. There's a dream here, and when it pops off, if it pops off, it's going to be pretty funny and amazing. But it's big ifs, buts, and coconuts. I'm afraid. Like,
Yeah,
um,
I worry for it. Well, I worry for it.
yeah,
We'll see as well.
we'll have to see how it goes. Before we move on to the next one, you pointed out the Astrolith Bearer. You were right about that, but do you know what? I was right about Celestial Equilibrium. Friendly wizards, other than the caster, get +1 to their casting
Oh,
rolls.
gotta love it.
Anyway,
Gotta love it.
East is less than West. Team
Based.
I know, like there's a Gloomspite Gits and Soulblight Gravelord. So let's have a look at this. The first Gloomspite one we've seen, and another Soulblight. So let's have a look at it. Ooh,
Yes.
well,
Yeah.
well, well.
So we did talk at the start about maybe you need other heroes to give command points for units that don't have unit champions, and I in the back of my head I thought, yeah, Troggboss is one of them because Troggboss don't get unit champions. They're not elite. This could come up. This could very come up. So we've got.
Yeah.
I love this. So we've got Glog's Mega Mob. So not only are they healing every hero phase, they're also healing after they fight in combat. So these Troggoths are here to stay. They're here to.
I think
They're
they've
here
picked a
to.
great grand strategy to go with, along with all these Trogs, because yeah, they are getting that grand strategy. The only way they don't get that grand strategy is probably if they're tabled, and at that point, if you're tabled, you've lost the game by probably a lot anyway. So
Let's talk about it because like we're both fangirling over this.
oh, I love
Let's talk about
it.
why we're fangirling this. Rockgut Troggos, incredible unit.
Yeah,
There's 12 wounds on a 4-up save, 5-up ward.
yeah,
If they're ever in the moonlight and
They will
They
win.
just need to be in range of that loon shrine, 12 inches of the loon shrine,
Yeah.
or using the mechanics of the moon going over the board. They'll get +1 save. So you're looking at 3-up save infantry with a 5-up ward,
Yep.
and that's before you've done all out defense or mystic shield.
Yep.
Their typical down parts of this is that they're only 2 attacks a piece. Freeze and freeze, rend 2 3 damage.
Yeah.
Bankhold Troggboss though, great choice.
Yeah.
Has the 4-up ward, the glowy howitz. Is going to be able to give a command point that says all out attack +1 attack. So that unit of 4 Troggoths, you're looking suddenly from 8 attacks to 16 attacks. Sorry, 12 attacks,
12 attacks.
and that's like twos and threes, rend 2 3 damage is very good.
Troggoths are so good. They're so good. They're so points efficient. Like they're a hammer and an anvil. They work as both. If I was a person that had a Gits member on my team and he ran this, I know for a fact all I have to do is hold objectives and give him a little bit of support. Help get rid of some of those pesky characters. Because some things, someone's lurking with a blizzard, they'll rip up some Troggoths, won't they? Like, Blizzard always rips up things regardless of what happens. Seraphon's massive mortal wound damage output could go through it. Maybe even some Skaven trickery might rip them apart. But honestly, those Troggoths, that's a lot of wounds. As you said, in the moon, great save.
The only thing I would ask for the person of this list is he's picked Loonskin.
Yeah.
So he can include a endless spell for free, as long as the Troggboss is the one casting that endless spell throughout the game.
True.
So is that endless spell, Malevolent Moon, is that free, or is that the 80 point? You've paid 80 points and he's taken he kind of needed to put like free in his list or something to denote that it's not part of it.
I gotta hope it's free, because otherwise, should we do some quick maths? 340, that's what, 510, 680.
Yeah.
It's fine. So,
680. 700, yeah, it's 1,000, yeah. So it is free, but in list building, you should put in brackets.
We should put it in brackets. It makes my life easier. It makes everyone else's life easier. But I like it. I like the loon skin.
My question is how because Troggoths are amazing. There's 2 massive weaknesses. Few attacks, so they're not great against Horde.
No.
And they're only 4 wounds apiece, so they only count as 1 on the objective, and you take them in mana free, so they're not going to have that bigger presence on the battlefield. So how has his teammate helped him out?
Oh, let's go and have a look then, shall we? Soulblight Overlord, Castelli. Oh, I saw this one. I saw this last night when I was adding them, and I knew this would be a fun one to talk about, because look what he's got right at the front. Big boy himself, Manfred.
Right. So instead of looking at the ally and going, right, I need to have lots of troops to back him up to help count towards objectives. I need to make sure I've got presence screens. Nope, he's gone. You know what? We're both going to confound the issue. We're both going to do the same thing. We're going to go for absolute hammers that can tank and can attack hard. But also lack that screen presence. So double Blood Knights. Blood Knights are great.
Blood Knights are fantastic. He's in that battle regiment, and they're both in a battle regiment. So I think that's the popular thing for this this particular thing. I've only seen a couple of lists that aren't 2 drops. A bit unfortunate, because I really hate the battle regiment. But
it makes sense though, because like you're not going to have enough wizards to go. The Acolyte.
It wasn't these guys. It was the one before. Didn't he have it?
Yeah, he had double necromancer.
Yeah, he had double necromancer. So he had the acolytes one, but I think he's probably not an army that actually cares about it. But there are a couple acolytes. I even saw 1 vanguard battalion. We'll get to that. Flipping out. And I saw a warlord battalion lurking around as well. But I think this
one's interesting because you got Manfred who poses Okay.
He's an
So
annoyance.
yeah, like he's one of these pieces that can help your ally out again
Yeah,
because his ability to charge countercharge um as a redeploy is really, could protect stuff that doesn't want to go down.
yeah,
My question is, he's gone Castilii, which
yeah,
means those Blood Knights, if they kill
powered up.
anything, get powered up. Well, yep. So it's again, he's not going to be able to teleport around the battlefield because he's not in Legion of Night. It's all going to be about those Blood Knights. And Manfred is just, they've taken Manfred because either they really, really like the model or they've just gone, you know what, he's a combat monster.
We have two best painted awards, one for best painted model, one for best painted army. Maybe he's going for broke. Maybe his Manfred is the source. It looks absolutely beautiful. But
Or you said earlier on about like when I mentioned the Guo being a lot of points
yeah,
and but not a lot of things may be able to take it out. Manfred is durable. He
he is
ignores one wound.
very durable.
He ignores a wound taken per phase due to his
Mm,
armor. He's on a 3-up save, 6-up ward. Like they might be using him as like a big pinning piece to instead of screens in Lua
yeah.
screens. So it's an interesting army.
The
Really fun.
the thing that confuses me personally, maybe you can help me shed light. Spirit Gale.
Uh,
Why would you think Spirit Gale? I personally, Spirit Gale got nerfed in it. It's no longer targets every unit on the board.
if you're telling me that everyone was anticipating spellcasting savant, it's one way of kind of reaching out and taking out
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
wizard in the
That's
corner.
that's not a bad shot. That's not a bad shot actually.
Doing a wound a turn can chip it down, so eventually maybe Manfred gets his D3 spell off, or an arcane bolt, or gets like a lucky charge, arcane bolt.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a way of making it so you don't have to try and kill a wizard from scratch, from like just raw. Maybe you can chip it down, or kind of threaten it, because if it's taken two, like it turns 1 and 2 wizards on 2 wounds and it's spellcasting savant, you're
yeah.
now desperately trying to heroic heal that guy back up.
Yeah,
So
I can see the logic. I can see the logic, and I'm with him. I think again, maybe I've got that jaded opinion as a corn player where I see Spirit Gale and I'm like num 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 num, like just hit me with it, just hit me with it. Like
yeah,
but again, that's my personal preference. I just usually doesn't Manfred is he Manfred that takes the amethystine pinions usually?
he can do.
Yeah.
He's quite fast though on his own, and because he's not got anything else to back him up, like those Blood Knights aren't running and
Mm,
charging. Like
he doesn't want to
I
shoot off across the board.
yeah, I said he's durable. He's not durable against 2,000 points of enemy
It's very true.
machination.
So what are we saying? We love this team,
I
or
love I love both lists. I really do.
yeah,
I'm not sure them together was the best combination. Whether they cared about that when they joined forces.
maybe they didn't give
Um,
it. Maybe they were there like we're just gonna play two 1K games while everyone else is playing a 2K game.
yeah, it's really interesting because like both of those lists stand out for me, but not stand out for me together
Hmm.
and as like a separate ally. But we'll see how they do.
Okay, next go Team Chaos. So we have a Slanesh and Nurgle lineup. Oh, I love a bit of this.
Oh,
Both of
oh.
these are down at the shop often. They're very awesome guys. They're very new to AoS in the grand scheme of things. They don't
Okay,
play it
okay.
too much. So Nurgle, Befouling Host. This army, by the way, I've seen it. Looks incredible. He did not paint it, but there's nothing wrong with that because his mate painted it for him. But his mate just doesn't play OS. He loves painting, so he decided that such a beautiful army needs to be on the field, so he's playing it for him, which is awesome.
Okay, I'm already confused. He's gone befouling host. I'm hoping he knows. Like, it's currently not got any benefits from that.
Yeah,
I wonder whether he's just like misclicked or something because he's not
maybe.
getting any benefit from befouling host. And I know the mortal faction's not great, and he'll say, "Oh, it's not great," but at least he'll get some benefit from being in that
Yeah,
one.
he'll get some benefit. We'll
Blessings.
definitely
So,
ask him. We'll definitely ask him. There's more than enough time. If some people can change the fact that they've put the wrong grand strat down, he can change the fact that he's got the wrong sub faction down. Because genuinely, unless he's playing a 4D game of chess I personally don't see what this benefits. However, Lord of Plagues, Overwhelming Stench, Split Horn Helm, that's a thing. Like,
I love it for several reasons. So I love Lord of Plagues. I've used him before. +1 attack for your Blight Kings is
yep,
it's great. Not a command ability either, so that's great. I love using. I'm not usually I prefer the machination, like changing the wheel as a command trait.
yeah.
But I love overpowering Stench here because it helps your ally out, and we always love helping our ally out.
I still
Um,
think Overwhelming Stench is like top 5 command traits in the game at the moment.
Absolutely. A 7 inch, you cannot use command points. It just that's
It's
no
amazing. It's amazing.
no all out defense, no all out attack,
Do we
no
know
enemy
whether that?
shell.
I assume that's enemy units. We're not hurting our teammates again, are we? No, I'm
Uh,
sure it is. I'm sure it isn't. I'm sure it isn't.
as the great nerd I am, I can quickly look it up. I've got every
Excellent.
book. So
While you're looking it up, obviously 2 units of Blight Kings. Like we talked about, anvils in Nurgle, and Blight Kings just work that way as a good anvil, but they do shred chaff. They shred chaff.
enemy units. So he's
Enemy
all
is
good.
awesome.
All good.
But
So he's got a tanky Lord of Plague. He's got some beefy characters.
yeah,
Both Lord of Plagues and Blights. High wounds, high save, high ward. The Blights in particular free up save.
yeah.
Has a horde clearing shooting attack and can confer it to a single Blight King model. So
Yeah.
that can help. Um,
I like it. I like it. I
yeah,
like the list.
this is a bricky list where the two Blight Kings are just going to run up the field and ask his opponent, "Can you deal with it?" 21 wounds, 4 up save, 5 up ward.
And
Um,
while they're dealing with it, what else are they dealing with? So let's have a look at the Owen's Hedonized Installation. Bloody hell!
I love this. So this is a great comp. This is absolutely on the doubles. This is so far these guys get my I think they'll do very well.
These
So
two
Glossos,
actually have a doubles list that. I mean, the first one did it as well. I think
yeah,
the Nurgle and Dragons. That's a hammer and anvil. That's a classic. One of us does one thing, the other one does. So this guy, these two now are there like, let's just all go together. Let's move up the board
this,
together.
this very much feels like they actually had a conversation
Yeah,
before they built their list of how do our armies best complement each other? How do our factions best complement each other?
yeah,
Slash typically struggle with having infantry units or anything as like tanky screens.
yeah,
Nurgle goes, "We've got you, fan. Here's our Blight Kings."
yeah.
Gluttos is great because he provides
-1 to hit all.
um, -1 to hit against enemy units.
Yeah.
So suddenly you just made those Blight Kings even more durable.
Honestly, that's outstanding. I love that -1 to hit. I mean, Glutos himself, once your depravity's up,
He's
he's a
tanky.
roadblock. He's an utter block.
He's absolute tanky. You've got 3 units that the enemy is going to have a hard time dealing with. You've got 2 blocks of Light Kings backed up by Glutos, and then behind it you've got 20 archers, which are just going to do so much shooting. And I've just seen you highlight it. I was coming down to it.
Yeah.
Crown of the Dark Secrets, another fantastic debuff. That Lord of Pain being within 6 inches of a unit of his choice. Suddenly that unit, those dragons, they're one
Yeah.
attack.
Yeah. One attack dragons. Sorry, mate. They're sitting there to other Blight Kings, other things with 6 attack. No, I'm sorry, mate. That's one attack. Even the Dankholds, that big unit of Dankholds, doesn't matter. I'm going to make it one attack. It's going to hurt.
Yeah.
Um,
This is strong. This will do
I
well.
love this. And also, like, just as a side point, I love a pendulum. I love a pendulum.
What's this subfaction?
Pretenders. This is what I was going to ask you. What
Yeah.
does Pretenders... I'm not a Slanesh savant. What is Pretenders giving this list?
So as long as he keeps that Lord of Pain alive,
Yeah.
he's getting so many command points.
Nice.
Which
the command points are in a pool as well, so his
yeah, I was just
Nurgle
about
player
to say
benefits. Do the Pretenders get anything else? Is it just the command point thing?
yeah, so he absolutely gets loads of commands to help out both players. He also can issue commands 3 times. Now they do have to target pretender units.
Okay.
But for example, both units of archers can benefit from all-out attack.
Well, he can
Um,
hit 3 units with the same command.
yeah, so
So
uh,
Glutos is 6 damage ranged attack as well.
that already hits on twos, but if
Oh,
there
that's
is
a
a
good
minus
point. Yeah,
one
yeah,
to hit, but what would be interesting if it does even.
yeah. I like him. I like these
Yeah,
lists.
so he might be the one hogging like the all-out attacks, and the Nurgle player hogs the all-out defense. But it's a great list, great combination. I
This
think it
is a
helps really
great
well.
comment. I think we will be looking at them at the moment. They're the ones that are drawing our eye. They're drawing our eye.
That's not to say that everyone else doesn't have a chance and whatnot. Absolutely, it's a dice game at the end of the day. But
I think.
list building wise, they've clearly come in with their
Yeah,
thinking caps on. They've talked to each other, and they've really, really come up with two fantastic lists that complement each
yeah,
other.
I think so. Yeah, I think the only one they might struggle on personally, Fountains of Frost might be difficult for that list. Those two lists.
That's a good point. That's a good
Yeah, I
point.
think they're going to struggle with that one. But other than that, so the Grandpa's Wah, great name. So let's have a look here. So Maggotkin of Nurgle again. Oh bloody hell, loads of Nurgle. Droning Guard, Lord of Afflictions, overpowering stench. Oh, Shield of Growth though. That's interesting.
Uh,
Um,
re- Essentially reroll saves. Um,
oh, look at that. Look at even got the sleeper unit here.
this is really interesting. So he's gone droning guard just to get plague drones as battle line, but then he's already got 3 battle lines, so or even 2 battle lines. So
Yeah,
he really wants that -1 to hit when they come in on the turn they're set up. So
yeah.
whether he can have them starting on the battlefield, they're -1 to hit on the first turn, or he drops them down with the Lord of Affliction as like a deep striking bomb.
Hmm.
Um, so he really kind of decided, out of all the sub factions, I want to make it that the single unit of plague drones is -1 to hit on one turn.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of wounds, a lot of
So it's a
wounds.
lot of wounds. We'll have to see how he works out with his teammate. He's got even a sneaky unit of Nurglings, I imagine, to get that contagion up by dropping in the background in their territory. Um,
I think looking at this list, like the
no,
Lord of Afflictions is going to
none of
be.
none of this, mate. None of this grand strategy. All
Mhm. The
right.
Lord of Afflictions is going to be pretty big. You've got
Yeah.
that overpowering stench. You've got the Shield of Grace. It's a tanky thing.
So Shield of Growths. Talk to me.
Oh,
Why
goodness.
this over Split Horn Helm?
So you have a 5-up ward already. So 5-up ward to 4-up ward isn't that big. One of the wheels gives you a 4-up ward.
I suppose.
So
Yeah.
um, it it's not you're not really adding too much value to your model. Like
Well,
you're
it's an
effectively
extra. It's an extra 2 wounds on average, isn't it? It's an extra two, three
yeah.
wounds on average.
But Shield of Growth, um, you can reroll saves for attacks that target the bearer if the save roll is equal to or less than the number of wounds allocated to the bearer. So as soon as he starts taking some amount of wounds, the rest of
Oh,
his saves are reroll.
grim.
And he he's got a high save, and so suddenly he becomes like he's got a 3-up save. So suddenly that re-rolling becomes he's so tanky. Shield of Grace is such a great pick here. He's got a really, really tanky hero that's switching off command.
Yeah.
Plague drones are fantastic at taking out low save chaff,
Yep.
of which, because these are 1,000 point lists, there's going to be some amount of that.
There is.
So they're a great pick there. He's bringing the naturally bulky plague bearers. He's bringing some chaos warriors, I guess, as a mystic shield target. That his ally might be able to like put a mystic shield on those chaos warriors, and
Yeah.
suddenly you got some bulkiness there. What's he?
Let's have a look.
What's
He's got the blood tooth, so he's got the classic mega boss with destroyer, hulking brute, a weird knob shaman, and a with obviously blizzard, um, and the
Oh, is it?
Auric war chanter, and a lot
This
of
is.
gore grunters.
This also feels like they've sat down and talked about their list again, because that weird nom usually picks the teleporting spell.
Yeah.
He's gone Blizzard because I guess when he's not in Blizzard range, he's going to be casting Mystic Shield.
Yeah.
There's not much here that wants Mystic Shield, but those Chaos Warriors would love a Mystic Shield put on them.
I think so.
Um,
And he's got a lot of movement shenanigans with those gore grunters and the blood tooths, right? Like,
yeah.
He's
that that's a lot of gore grunting moving around. He's got only one war chanter, so only one of them is going to get +1 damage a turn. But it might be a case of send and go, put up
he hasn't.
+1 damage on one of the gore grunters, send it across the field.
Yeah, he hasn't put on his beat, annoyingly. But I imagine it's gonna be the get and beat. I
It's
imagine.
them. It's right there. Get him beat.
Oh
Is
bloody
it?
hell! I've just,
Sure, you're okay. You need
I'm
more coffee.
I'm operating on 2 hours sleep, and I ran
You,
out of
you,
tea
you
about
need
an
more.
hour
No,
ago.
no, he's got the get him beat, so he's got the 3d6 charge if he gets it on a free up. Um, Yeah, I love this. I'm sad that he didn't try to shove in a Maw Crusher or even the new Big Pigs.
The new
But
big
it's
pigs. Will we see one in this tournament? There's two other Iron Jaws lists. We'll
oh,
find out. Let's.
I, I
I know
like it
the
though.
answer.
Just a quick word. It is a very efficient list. This does
Yeah,
bring damage. Like we've been talking about. Oh, this list there's not a lot of damage coming out of it. Well, the Nurgle player is clearly got a defined role of the tank,
yeah,
and you've got the paladin, the berserk class in the pigs. Those
yeah.
score grunters will hit hard over time,
It,
and the Nurgle player will give him time. They'll go right here, buffer unit up, send it off, go in. I'll hold the rest of the army down
yeah.
and then next turn, buff another unit, send it away. So he's going to give that orc player enough time to kind of
Well,
do
yeah.
the damage.
It's that, and last thing I'll say is you never sleep on that destroyer, do you? You never stop watching it because the moment it goes in,
Yeah.
it can smash teeth. I like it. I like the list. It's a good hammer and anvil, different
Yeah.
to the first hammer and anvil we looked at right at the top.
Yeah.
But I think it's still incredibly good. So
Another good pair that should do well. So
yeah.
yeah. Really good.
So another Nurgle, crazy,
Yeah.
and a Seraphon to go with it. Interesting. So let's talk about this quickly. I don't. Oh, okay. Befouling Host again. So another great unclean one with the bell, Nurgling Infestation with a Stay of Flesh Abundance. Exact same. However, he's put in Horticulus.
And he hasn't got any beast to go with that Horticulus. So that Horticulus, that primary reason for Horticulus is just an extra tree.
Fair.
Um,
Like we talked about Nurgle summoning and how just consistent it is, even at 1K.
well,
Consistent.
so the other list is going to get 7 points on based on the bell getting a 2 up.
Yeah,
He's just going to go, no, I'm going to get 7 points, and then I might get some extra with
yeah,
the bell to help with future summoning.
yeah,
But that Horticulus is he's gone. That 200 points is worth an extra tree and the hero, not the fact that the Horticulus usually buffs Beta Nurgle, because he's gone. You know what? Rather than trying to buff Beta Nurgle, I rather just have 30 Plague Bearers. That's 60 wounds.
yeah.
Fleshy Abundance makes an extra 10 wounds. He's just gone, you know what? I just want an extra tree and I want tons
Yeah.
and tons of wounds, which
I,
is what he's gone for.
yeah, and I can imagine, as we know he's with Seraphon, we'll look at it now, but I can almost guess that if this is the list for the Seraphon, that they are the big wall, and behind it, let's have a look. Well, well, well,
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anyone that's playing Sigma at the moment can not understand how scary Croak's going to be at 1,000 points.
I was asked to playtest a Starborn list last night. So one thing that Starborn really struggle with is you need to buy like lots of heroes, magic, and then you just don't have points for screens. And we can see this. He's just got two 10-man skink units. Those are like
Yeah.
the bare minimum of what counts as a screen.
Yeah.
So
And he's got 30 Plague Bearers as screens as well.
yeah, so he's gone, you know what? I'm just going to go all in on my heroes. He's got
Yeah.
a Star Seer, two caster, great hero,
Great.
Blizzard.
Blizzard's going to be scary. Okay. Again, I genuinely think we talked about it with the previous couple. This is two lists that they sat down and talked. They sat down
Yeah,
and talked, and they were like,
yeah,
"What are
yeah.
you doing? What am I doing? Let's do
Oak
this."
is an absolute 18-inch threat range of, if you wander into this 18-inch threat range, you're going to be taking 4d3 worth of mortals for multiple units. And being able to sit behind a wall of just
Yeah,
beef, just a wall of plague bearers. It's just fantastic.
yeah.
I do also, it should be said, Starborn, they're a summoning faction. They also have the abilities, but he's generating 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. He's summoning at least 10 points a turn for his side, and then he can
You
obviously
got
cast those.
the Guo as well casts too, doesn't he?
Yeah, but I not that won't add. But
Oh, does it not
he's
add?
adding no, he's adding 10, and then what the Guo, what they can do is the Guo casts the endless spells,
Ah,
and then
true.
Croak unbinds the endless spells in the opponent turn, and that will get him extra points as well. So,
Dang.
but there, I don't know if they're thinking that deep, but there are
I,
definitely
having known both of these players, so I know both of these players, John and Harvey, both very good players. Like they are very
they
good. They know exactly what they're doing, and I would imagine they know. Weirdly, I know they have officially put on spellcasting savant because they messaged me. I saw this and I was like, what the hell? But
I think that's a
um,
meme, but
yeah,
that's clearly a
hopefully
meme.
that's a meme. But yeah, they already told me. What is very interesting is that this is not a 2-drop list. This is a battle regiment with a warlord battalion.
Oh, they don't care. They don't. You give them first turn, that's
Yeah,
fine. They'll run up the field. They'll still do damage to you with Croak, long range, Comet's Core,
mm.
the Temple. Um, that'll be interesting. That's a lot of terrain to try and fit on their side of the field because that's a temple and 3 trees.
Yeah, that's a lot of
Um,
and like yeah, that's a lot of terrain. It's going to be difficult, and I do
Hilariously,
think
that might lead to arguments, so that'll be fun.
yeah, that'll lead to arguments for sure. I'm looking forward to ruling on that when I inevitably get asked. Um, but I think the one thing that's probably, if I was them, that's scary again is Fountains of Frost. Like, do they have the capability to spread out and get 1-2 more?
There's summoning 10 skinks a turn that are throwaway units. They
And
can teleport 10 skinks a turn.
but are they
I
getting 1-2 more though?
I think so. I think like the Nurgle player can take 1 to 2 objectives. The Pro can threaten multiple objectives with teleports and summoning.
Yeah.
And I think they're gonna like lean on the fact that Croak, if given enough time, can absolute dominate a game, and that Nurgle player will give him the time that he needs
You
to
summed it
dominate
up
the game.
perfectly. Let's
Like,
move on because this is. I just looked at the clock and I was like, "Oh my god, we've been here for
yeah,
this long."
please. I've got a perfect place
Yeah,
to go to.
we've both got to get through it. But I do really like this list. They work really well together. They're going to be
Yeah.
a tough one. So might be
How many
short.
how many players have we got to this tournament then, Ashore?
So including the people that haven't submitted their list net, boo. I think we've got 48, so 24 teams, 48 players, which is
Wow.
very good
Wow.
for a doubles tournament, which I was not expecting. This has ended up being our technically highest numbered tournament of the year.
And
So
you're only like 2 years in the
two
tournament
years
scene,
in,
right?
two years
So,
in, and loving it, mate. I absolutely love it. They're seeing. There is a lot of locals. It is a lot of people in the West Midlands, but I've had people come from Wales in the last one. They drove down from Wales. That was incredible. Manchester keeps visiting. Obviously, yourself has come up. I've had
Mhm.
a few people that I've met around as well. So from Carnage, from Blackout, like I've had a few people come and support, which is it's just awesome. It's awesome. I'd love it
Okay.
if everyone next year comes again. Like we'll talk about that another time, but definitely come.
Onwards
So
and upwards.
might be short of numbers. Daughters of Cain and Fire Snares. Let's start with the Fire Snares because it's Lofnir, and yeah, that's exactly what I expected. It's incredible. In 1K, 3 magma drops. Big middle finger to everyone that wants to break through your screen because that is 3 guys that are gonna tie
Yeah,
you up.
they're not as good as they used to be.
No.
When they first came out, they were fantastic because they were one of the newer AoS 3 books, and
Mm.
they got the Magma Dross got a glow up. As new books have been released, the power level of the Magma Dross have gone down. But at a 1,000 point game, you're looking at 3 monsters that have 4 up save. They do damage. They've got a fantastic shooting ability against like your screens, and we've already talked about. Well, we've seen that there's a fair few screens going about.
Yeah.
So very good, cool.
I think
Um,
this it's a good unit. if you're working with your teammate, we'll talk about this. Look at the teammate in a second, but I think surely as that Fire Slayers, he's born to die. He's going to run up and he's going to hold the
That
entire army back. Right?
that Runefather is going to be an absolute unit. Fight
Yeah.
twice, free up ward, coal agent.
-1 damage. -1 damage on the Cold Heart Ancient, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
yeah, -1 damage. So it's
he's a
that
war.
unit alone. That unit alone is going to like if you're paired against these players, your first thing is how this is going to be a puzzle.
Yeah.
How do we deal with a Runefather that's tanky in a 1,000 point game?
Indeed. And while all that's going on, have we seen this? Have we seen this?
What?
In a 1K list, have we seen this?
Well, that's because I have done a few 1,000 point lists, but they're not doubles; they're just 1,000 points,
Yeah.
and usually you're not allowed to take anything that's over 400 points. I guess
Yeah.
because this is 1,000 point list, but 2,000 points overall,
treat it as a 2.
you've allowed it.
Yeah.
This is so interesting because they've just gone. We don't care about the fact that Marathi usually busts other stuff. We don't care that we just want the monster that is unkillable for 3 turns.
Yeah, I think these two. There's not much to talk about with these two lists as a working force. However, they are going to be an utter pain for the first 3 turns.
We can talk about it because it's 4 monster bases, so that's huge footprint. Running at you, charging at you, hard to remove, does a lot of damage. They've just gone. We don't really want to play the game. We're just going to run at you and see if you can deal with this.
I'm down for it though. They're going to tie you up in your deployment zone, and probably with all those monsters as well, they'll be scoring 1-2 more for a few turns.
They won't be able to spread out, but the objectives that they're on are going to be hard to remove.
Yeah, so they are going to be really tough. I think they struggle into something maybe like the previous list that has a big wall that can just throw mortals at you constantly, bang, bang, bang.
Oh,
bang, bang.
Marafi's a liability against Croak.
Yeah,
absolutely. She's absolutely taking her 3 wounds a turn, and so she has just got 3 turns before she just dies.
There's no 2 ways about that one.
But yeah, interesting.
I like it. I do like it, and I think it's awesome that they've just went. You know what? We're not going to play everyone else's game. We're going to play our game, and that's what we have to do with it.
Is this a 1-dayer or a 2-dayer?
It's a 1-dayer. 3 games, 1 day.
These lists, well, this pair, this combination is either going to do really, really well, depending on who they're matched up against, or they're going to have a hard time. If they're in their luck and if they bribe you to have the right pairings,
I know, right?
they'll do very, very well. But if they go up against Croak, they'll struggle.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the team 1 army will be painted. Incredible guys. They're local players, so they're down at the shop all the time, playing 2 armies that they have not played very often at all, and is actually quite new for them. So Soulblight Gravelords, we've got that Vampire Lord again, 20 Deathrat Skeletons, 10 Direwolves, and 10 Big Boy Blood Knights.
Now I'm going to say something. It's going to sound derogative. I mean this with it. This is a basic list, as in it's self-sufficient. It's got its hero, it's got an anvil, and it's got a hammer. It's not relying on the other person to bring something to help it. It's got some beef. It's got the direwolves and death rattles to screen. It's got 10 blood knights to buff up and send on its way. And it's got a very good hero. So it's a great list, but it's very self-contained.
It's very self-contained, and he's got that Hoarfrost, amazing. I think you're right. This can be just such a solo list. It can do what it needs to do. And
this is a list that could be paired with any other of the other lists that we've seen so far. It's not needing anything extra.
And then boom. We've got Knights of the Empty Throne. They're going for Overshadow again, so they're talking about keeping their battle line alive. A weird one for me because realistically, their battle line is okay. It's good, but it's not going to be as tough as the 30 plague.
Yeah, that's a weird one to me. This is a I've got some Feridons, Corn Feridon, 16 attacks on one turn,
Corn
freezing
Feridons.
3, Ren 2, 3
Delicious.
damage. Absolutely will annihilate anything in
Yeah.
this meta.
Yeah.
We just saw Magmadroths. Three of those will probably likely kill a Magmadroth in one turn.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not the Runefather because he's got the free up
My
ward, but
and the -1 damage as well. Like, but
anything
yeah.
else it will just
Anything
crumble.
else, I can't. I
The
can't see.
the six Vanguards, you buff them up with the Chaos Sorcerer, Mark of Corn. He hasn't put down what weapon options he's got with the Vanguard. I imagine he's gone six spears, but he could go on other
We'll make
weapons.
sure it's updated before you think. He did.
Um,
I did get a message off of him. I haven't updated it yet. He's got an artifact as well. I'll double check that while we quickly finish off talking about the lists. Where are you, you devil?
uh,
He
I mean,
has. I don't know.
and while you're looking that up, one thing we were talking about before is these games have got more command points flowing.
Yeah.
I think you said 4 and 6
Yeah. Well, so
rather
if
than
you go
3 and
first, you're
2.
getting 3. If you go in second, you're getting 4. Just because you're getting that 1 for each of your generals.
And so with more command points, he might be able to convince his teammate to like let him do rallies on those vanguards.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and 5-up rallies are fantastic for
Yeah.
bringing back Vanguard, running in charge for those Vanguard. So he's gone. I'm not bringing much screen. I'm just bringing two real punchy units. One is tanky, one is not.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm just going to bring all the power. And we'll see if the self-sufficient Soulblight list can provide enough screens.
I think
Might
they work
might
well.
even use those Blood Knights as like a kind of pseudo screen.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I
it
think so.
works.
I think they work really well. He's got the Chaos Familiar as well as an artifact on the Sorcerer Lord. So
Okay, once per game, extra cast.
yeah,
Yeah, very good lists.
yeah, I
Good
like it.
team.
I
Yeah,
think
I like
it's a
it.
good team. They both work well together, and like you said, I think they're very versatile. They have a plan for multiple different armies, don't they? Like
Yeah.
I would say. Okay, let's go on. Plastic Crack Dealer. So that's the owner of Battleground Gaming. He's the one that helps me out with a lot of the tournaments.
Oh,
He gets all
nice.
the terrain, he gets the mats, and it's his first tournament. So hopefully he will do amazing. He is taking Fire Snares and Lofnir again. So again, the exact same thing. The free Magma Drafts. He does have the he has Master Rune of Unbreakable Resolve. Fair enough. I like it. Cold Heart Ancient though is the same on the Runefather, and he's got the Nullstone icon. I think the other guy had the Pebble. This one has the icon, so he's basically saying if there is a croak in the game, there's a 50-50 chance of that spell actually affecting me.
Yeah, and we kind of glossed over it with the other Lofnir build. When you take three Magmadross, this person's gone two Rune Sun, so he hasn't even got a priest. There's no magic, so they're reliant on their ally to bring that like Mystic Shield. That
And he's got an ally for sure.
yeah, and there you go. To get that battle tactic as well. So yeah, it's interesting. So what has he got? He's got Slan. Are we Starborn? We are Starborn.
Yeah, Starborn, Slan. He's got. I imagine he's got. Yep, the vast intellect for the Starmaster. He's got the Astrolith Bearer with the Arcane Tome, which I think is you're going to always take the Astrolith Bearer, so you may as well give him the Arcane Tome. Obviously, we're not doing shared artifacts, so you can't have two Arcane Tomes wandering around. So obviously, you're going to give the Arcane Tome to the Seraphon player in this case.
So what's happened here is that this person's gone. I'm going to trade a little bit of damage by not taking Croak. I say a
Yeah,
little bit.
only a little bit.
And I'm taking a Slan for more utility
Yeah,
and for a greater amount of summoning points.
yeah, because he's getting the for every one he does, he gets two, doesn't he? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it far outstrips Croak, especially if he sends those endless spells and then dispels them in his opponent's turns.
yeah,
That's an extra two. So he's racking up those summoning points. So he's tapping into summoning a lot more and the abilities a lot more for trading some damage down. I'm guessing he saw his allies list and gone, I don't need as much magical damage because the Magma Dross will make it. I just need to
yeah.
be able to kind of swarm my opponent with summoning
Yeah,
and whatnot.
he's gonna be summoning every turn. If someone gets a little too close, maybe he holds back and does that D6 mortal wound explosion in the
Yeah.
area with his
And the other
points.
thing that we didn't mention is like with Comet's Call, with the Temple, they're great at sniping small heroes, and
Yeah,
their thousand point
bloody
thousand
fun.
point lists. You're going to be having a lot of small foot heroes in a lot of lists.
Yeah.
So having a Starborn ally, you're guaranteeing that you're killing those wizards, you're killing those
Mm,
spellcasting savant. You have
yeah.
extended range. If you can't charge the opponent, like they give you the turn, and you're like, "Oh, I'm a Nurgle, I can't charge." Well, at least I can rely on my, or like I'm a Magma Drop player. At least I can rely on my Seraphon player to do some amount of damage and not just have a wasted turn. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's not much more to say about it because we've seen both of these lists before, but they are very good. They are very good, and they are going to do damage at range. I think the more summoning is going to be quite terrifying when you're technically 2 1k lists. That extra summoning, he's taken probably guaranteed a 1500 to 1800 point list with all that summoning.
Now, Ashura, you promised me there weren't going to be that many Seraphon, but I have seen that this
Hey,
Seraphon is near and dear to my heart because it's Coalesce.
it's
Coalesce gives -1
coalesced.
damage.
So
Um,
let's have a look at it. So he's got the coalesced, he's got the Kotal's Claw, Overshadow, and he's got the gorgeous Carnosaur. Love a Carnosaur. We love to see it. He's got the thickly scaled hide as well. So is that -1 to wound?
Let me look it up.
I think so. But as we're going on about that, so he's got the coalesced. He's got the Saurus Old Blood, on Carnosaur. 2 units of Saurus Warriors, a
It,
Croxagore, Skinks, and this was the guy that had the Vanguard Battalion. Very interesting, I think. He's got it on the Saurus Warriors and the Old Blood, so he's just
well, it's not.
guaranteeing they're getting in.
He's not running Slan. He's not running Croak, so he could be hurt for command points, and
Yeah,
so having that Vanguard just adds that free charge. The Carnosaur, he's gone thickly scaled, which is +1 save. So
+1
rather than go for
save.
the plus one attack on his mount, he's gone, no, I want to keep my Carnosaur alive.
Yeah,
So Blade of Realities is a great artifact, +1 rend, +1 damage. That targets a hero. Oh, +1 rend, and then he gets +1 damage if he targets a hero with the mounted guy's attacks.
okay.
So that's great at hero hunting, and as we've just kind of seen a load of monster heroes kind of run around the
A lot
field.
of
So
monster heroes. I think
yeah,
the interesting one for me, I don't personally agree with it, is that Nullstone icon again. Maybe it's just me. I love the pouch of Null Dust, but when he's not putting it on his big Carnosaur and instead he's putting it on the small Saurus, I'm not sure whether he needs that 4-up spell ignore.
uh,
Because it's a 4-up spell ignore, and then it still bounces if you're next to someone, and you're going to be keeping your small person next to someone so he doesn't get shot off the board. Surely,
what the North Stone icon?
yeah, that's the 4-up ward, right? Isn't it? Or is that the pebble?
Isn't it?
Is that the pebble? Ah, maybe
Hang
I've
on.
got confused.
You brought me along because I have all the bloody books.
It's so true. And while you're looking up that to double check for us,
What have you got? He's got the
he's
what
got
was
the
it? Sorry.
icon, hand carved nullstone icon.
No, it's the he's an unbinder, and anytime he
Ah,
successfully
the
unbind, he gets an
pebble
extra
is
unbind.
the pebble is the 4-up one. Okay,
Yeah,
so he's got the unbind, so that's actually quite good then. I take
yeah.
it back. The unbinds are really good, and you
What
do.
what I like about this list is again, it's another self-sufficient one. He's got the 20 block, two blocks of 10 warriors. They're tanky.
Yeah,
He's got some Croxagores for a medium, like discounted Feridons. And then he's got a Carnosaur, which is going to be all he's going to be focusing on, making sure it's in the best position it can. Backed up
absolutely.
by him is the Skaven player.
Skaven player, and what a Skaven player, eh? He's got, yeah, screw everything else. I don't need to see this. I don't need to see the battle line. These bad boys are gonna rip someone to pieces. They're gonna get caught sleeping, and he's gonna pick up some of those monsters that we were talking about being at 1k. Not a lot can deal with, say, like a Manfred or a Guo. What could deal with it at 1k is 2 Warp Lightning Cannons getting very lucky and bouncing 20 odd mortal wounds off of Manfred's head.
Interestingly, he's gone for a redundancy here because I believe he needs 2 engineers for them both to be fully activated in
Yeah,
the same turn.
I think so.
So what he's gone is I will go with a mini shot with the one cannon. I'll go maximum shot with the other cannon. If it blows itself up, I'll go maximum shot with the other cannon next turn.
Yeah.
So by taking only one engineer but two cannons, he's gone. I don't care that I'm not getting to max fire both of them in the same turn. I just want to make sure I'm max firing with a cannon every turn.
Yeah, which is all you really want. Like those things are going to deal with some of their bigger targets, which will probably be an issue for this team, having to deal with the mega targets.
You skipped over the hero section. He's gone Master Molder. Master Molder with the 4 Rat Ogres. He's not given the usual command trait to kind of re-roll the coming back. He's just going to hope and pray that he rolls that 3 up and get Rat Ogres back.
That's a true Skaven player there. He's rolling and praying. He doesn't need too much redundancy. You've said that he's got a bit of redundancy. He doesn't need too much, okay? He's going full Skaven.
He's gone, if I get that 3 up, I'm getting way more value than I should do by getting those Rat Ogres back. No, I'm just gonna full gamble it. So he's gone for a single unit of Rat Ogres, a Master Molder. They are good, even if they do die.
Yeah, they do die, but I like Rat Ogres are good, and at 1k, four Rat Ogres will do the business.
Yeah, I like it. It's good. It's nice. He's got ranged output. He's the first list we've seen with like massive range.
Yeah, So, first list we've actually seen with actual devastating shooting, really, hasn't it? Like,
yeah.
So these two, I think this is going to be one. Maybe not. They might not stand out as a truly devastating team, but if they catch you sleeping, and they will catch you sleeping with those 2 lightning cannons.
Anyone that takes a Carnosaur is not catching me sleeping. I
was going
to
say, when I ask you later on, and I'm like, oh, who's your favourite team? It's either going to be the incredibly named Slime Time, or it's going to be this one, isn't it? Like, okay, let's move on. So, team, the name needs to be changed, because we changed our team last second yesterday. This is my team. I decided to play. We're no longer Team Do You Have Mortal Wounds. I'm pretty sure we're Team Sparkly Destruction, because we decided to go full destruction.
So when you win the tournament, everyone can say Rig when you get in the award.
Well, I didn't play my corn because I didn't want that argument with anyone. And to be honest, if we win, it's because we've had some incredible luck with the placements and incredible gameplay. However,
I don't know if people will care about my opinion, but my opinion is this: it takes a lot of effort to host a tournament, to organize a tournament.
Yeah.
Most organizers of these tournaments are fans of the game and do want to play. Like when it's there's no massive prize pool, it's no massive grand worlds tournament. I think you have every right to want to play.
I love playing. I utterly love playing the game, and like that's
and people just need to be sensible about it. Common sense.
Yeah, common sense.
You're not gonna make a bad experience for everyone.
We're gonna have fun, and that's why originally we had an idea of taking a pure 2+ save army, and it was hilarious. But we've decided, you know what? Let's not do that. Let's go full destruction. That way, people can't.
This is your teammate, right?
This is my teammate. He's got a big unit of Bounders, a big unit of Squig Herd, a small unit of Squig Herd, some Spore Splat Fanatics, and then obviously the Squig Boss and Madcap Shaman.
So I know some people in watching this will turn their eyes at you going, "Oh, we brought fun stuff," and you see glimpses like it. But the thing here is,
there's no sneaky snufflers for
one. I was just about to say, you're just taking the squigs. You're not. There is a Squig Boss and there's Fanatics, so you're getting +1 attack, and you're getting +1 attack or the Mortals. That is it. That's interesting because you've not got all the extra fantastic sport. You've not got Gobblepalooza. You've not got the Loon King. You've just gone Squigs on their own are fantastic. Will do well even without all the extra utility buffs that we have in their list. Right, let's see your list.
Let's see my list. Incredible list, by the way. We talked about a big pig. Do you know what's in there? Big pig. Love that. And then we just got an Auric Megawas, has that Mighty War Leader for the rerolls, the Artifact Destroyer, because obviously Pouch of Null Dust, because I love Pouch of Null Dust. Auric War Chanter, of course. Zogrog Anvil Smasher, because I love saying that name. And then 2 units of Brutes and a unit of Ragers, which I think everyone and their mom is now starting to open their eye to the Ragers and being like, they do how much damage for 100 points? Awesome. Awesome.
My only contention with your list, and we're going to have a fight online.
Go on then.
Um, Zogog, is he worth 160 points when you're not, because you haven't got any reinforced units?
I knew you'd
He
say this. I knew you'd
he
say this.
typically he typically works when you have lots and lots of attacks, and no single unit has lots of attacks on your list.
I know you'd say
So
this.
I feel like you're taking him just for the funsies rather than.
I knew you'd say
Uh,
this, and what I will say to you is, I don't have jagged gore hackers. I have a pair of brute choppers, so they have one extra attack, and that's my only defense. Because you are right, I took him for the name. I don't have that big 20 block of hard boys. I don't have something like that. I took him for the name, and to be honest as well, I didn't want to have like a shaman. Shaman's great. Auric Shaman, you can maybe pick someone up, throw them across the board. You can do a lot of things. However, I think Zogrog on his own, he gives that little bit of extra. I'm not expecting to do 30 mortal wounds with him, but 4 extra mortal wounds, 2,
the,
3, 4. It's okay.
the other thing I'm going to shame you on is the Ragers. What's their weapon outfit? What have you gone with?
We
You
went
haven't
for the
stated
3s
it.
and 3s minus 2, 2, the Gore hackers.
Of course you did, but you do need to put it down. Big Pig, how do you
I'm
feel
sorry.
about him?
I love Big Pig. I love Big Pig. I love Little Pig. Specifically, he's 180 points. You're throwing him across the board. He can make something fight last. He does whiff. If he whiffs, he really fucking whiffs. Like, but for 180 points, he's a monster as well. Like, he's just good. He's just
You
good.
know what comparison people are going to say? They're
What?
going to say Big Pig or Gore Grunters. So where do you feel on this?
So, Gore Grunters, amazing, amazing. I don't have them painted. That's my comparison.
Well, also, like Big Pig, he brings a monster to the list, so
He
you do
brings a
have that
monster.
raw.
He brings a monster. That momentum. He doesn't bracket like other monsters. There's that run and charge potential, so you might not even need to mighty destroy him in certain situations. Again, a
I love how you're like
fight
he
last
doesn't
is
bracket.
scary.
No, he just starts on the worst bracket.
Yeah, he just starts on the worst bracket. But in my mind, I'm just going to roll a 3 on the D3 for momentum gain on turn 1, and it'll be fine. I'll be able to run and charge straight away, so it's okay.
Are you Big War or are you Iron Jaws?
I'm Iron Jaw, so I'm actually playing Iron Suns as well, which really leans into that Morgrant or Gouger. Because if I
Oh,
do
yeah.
roll a thing and I get not enough momentum, if he then comes in and they're like, you know what, I'm not going to charge, I'm going to be there like, bang, let's get the Morgrant in
I
there.
like it. I like those bruters with the extra attacks with the Iron Jaws
Yeah.
getting the +1 rend once per game. They can do a lot of damage. Yeah, I like. It's very efficient. It works well.
Also, I will say we must be savants ourselves because we're the only people with this grand strategy. Baron Icecape, crazy,
Mm.
crazy. We're just gonna ruin heroes. That's our
What
only plan.
what I like is both lists are capable of having mobility. Both units are capable of slingshotting a unit
Yeah,
across the field, which normally is a downside because then you just slingshot a single unit. Well, both of you get to slingshot both units, so you're feeling like actually you're not just sending one unit to its doom, you're sending two units
yeah,
that will add. And I like the fact that you can hide behind the squigs and get your charges off because
yeah.
Aurochs aren't the most strongest units.
We're not the most
So,
strongest units, but on that war, we're going in +1 rend, +1 charge. Yeah, there are going to be some big attacks, I think. And again, it's that team destruction mentality, isn't it? We're just going bloody hard. So then we've got Team Flanders, Soulblight Gravelords and Maggot Kin of Nurgle. Another Maggot Kin of Nurgle, love that.
yeah,
But
I'm loving it. I love Nurgle. So
okay, so we did talk about
right,
this before.
okay.
We did talk about this beforehand.
This
Zombie
is a
Dragon.
brave individual because he's looked at the points increases. He's looked at the fact that his zombie dragon is now more expensive than a Maw Crusher,
Yeah.
and he's gone, "Yep, no, I still want one."
You know what though? I'm okay with it. It's an absolutely sexy model. Sexy model.
You'll need to. He's also taken a triple reinforced Skelly unit, I
Yeah,
believe. Is
yeah,
that?
yeah, that's triple reinforced. So
Um,
that's 30 skellies sitting around.
so
Um,
he's just gone. I want a big tanky monster, or a big aggressive monster. Although it can whiff, and it will whiff.
oh,
And
I'm
if it
sure it
whiffs,
will.
that'll hurt him tremendously because that's where all his damage is in. And he's just gone a simple Black Knights because they're cheap,
Yeah,
and he's gone for a big anvil of skellies that they will tank a lot.
they will.
It's going to come down to that zombie dragon, and if it pulls its weight. I've played with them, and I've seen them whiff too many times for me to feel comfortable about it. But we'll see how it goes.
Jeez.
And then there we go, Slimmix with Beast Nurgle. The only interesting thing here is he's reinforced his Beast Nurgle. That's interesting to me. Usually you take them in individuals.
Yeah, that one is actually quite interesting. I love the no shame we're going over shadow. Deal with it. I do like that. But yeah, the
Um,
reinforced beast of Nurgle is
the other really interesting thing to me is he's not gone for a generic hero to get the command traits and artifacts. He's just gone, you know what? The command traits and artifacts, they're not worth it. I'm
this.
just gonna go Slimmix and Beast and Nurgle.
I like this guy. That but there's not much to talk about because there's no artifacts or command traits or spells or anything. But I like the ability that he's just said. Everyone else is a weakling for taking artifacts and command traits, and he rocks out without any of those. I love that.
Listen. It's a simple list. This is a deadly list. If you look at this
Yeah.
list and you go, "There's nothing to it,"
No.
you're gonna wake up to a nightmare because
And
those Beast and Nurgle are going to lock you in prison, and I mean literal prison.
they genuinely will. And you know what? I hate to say it, kind of works really well with the zombie dragon, right? Like it kind
It
of works
gives
really well.
it gives him the time to actually hopefully not whiff with the dragon.
Yeah, which I'm all about. Team latecomers, boo.
Because they're latecomers.
No, because they haven't got their lists in.
Hey, they're being upfront about the fact that they're late.
Yeah, I respect that though. They signed in, they put in their name, so it's actually maybe it's a bit of BM. We'll never know. Um, Stormcast. So we've got another Hammers of Sigmar, Lord Imperator, a classic when you've got these daddies in the background. So the Lord Imperator obviously lets them deep strike outside of 6. So that's pretty one unit deep strike out of 6.
Each turn he lets a unit be 7 away.
7 away. So it gives extra mortals when they're landed in because obviously you're a bit closer, so that 10-inch mortal area is a bit better.
No, you're talking about that as if that matters. It's them getting in with those grand hammers.
Okay, yeah, all right. Let's talk about that. We talked about what could possibly kill some of these bigger monsters in a turn. On the charge, those annihilators with grand hammers will annihilate. Like they do great work.
Let's be real. They look 200 points. They are squishy as hell. They're nine wounds on a 3-up save, no wards. But they'll drop down the sky. They'll do D3 mortals potentially on a 3-up. They'll charge, and they've got the ogre charge. If anyone knows what the ogre charge is on 4-ups, equal to the charge roll.
Yep.
They'll do mortals, and then they're going in with Ren 2 free damage.
Do they get a free reroll the turn they drop in as well for their charge?
No, but I mean 7 inches away.
Yeah,
you're only dropping 1. You just spend a command point. They have got a champion unit. His holy command. What is that? That'll be big.
Holy command. Another person that hasn't put their holy command down.
This one is interesting to me because the other one was fairly obvious that it was the run in charge.
Yeah.
This one could be the run in charge, but it could also be the +1 attack.
+1 attack would be interesting. Yeah, could be.
What +1 attack interesting on the Annihilators? That's +3.
I mean, like that turns something that's like we should kill it to that's dead, right? Like it turns it into a should into a it's embarrassing if we don't. Like and then he's got the Vindicators as well. So a unit of reinforced Vindicators and a unit of normal Vindicators.
There's not much to talk about here. Like it's literally he's got a bit of beef in the center of the field or wherever he chooses to put that Vindicators in, but really and truthfully that the heart of the list is dropping down the 2 Annihilators, and this is a really kind of skill. It doesn't look skill intensive. It is knowing where to drop them down and how to maximize their damage, because once those Annihilators dead, the list is kind of toothless.
Yeah, and
let's look at the
backed up.
His ally. What's backing him up?
So we've got OBR with their crematoriums, which is lovely. I love to see something other than Null Myriad. Great. So Bone Shaper, Arts and Key, Dark Acolyte, the usual sort of suspects. Got some Kavalos Death Riders. Nice.
Yep.
Like that. You reinforce unit of Mortek Guard, right? And a Gothizzar Harvester. Soul Stealer Carrion and Nightmare Predator is quite interesting. I do like both of those.
They're great endless spells.
Obviously, the thing with him is if you've got the Annihilators jumping forward and smashing teeth, hopefully, you've got then that moved up unit of Mortek Guard with a Harvester behind them, and then Crematoriums just punishing anyone that decides to come and fight you. Like,
this also feels like they're going to come to the start of the tournament and try and bribe you to get the right matchups,
oh,
because
absolutely,
any,
they
any,
really
anything
struggle.
that can't deal with that Mortek Guard block, the Harvester is just going to be an absolute nightmare, and you'll feel like it's broken. Anything that can deal with 20 wounds in a single turn of combat, the list falls apart. So
Or
it's
just deals with the Harvester, right? Like a Warp Lightning
all.
Cannon bouncing a Harvester off the board straight away. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So
um,
it's a strong list for sure. It
yeah,
has major weaknesses, and they're hoping to probably avoid those weaknesses being exploited.
but
Cool.
really good. I do actually really enjoy seeing OBI, especially Crematoriums. I really
Yeah,
look forward to seeing how these two do.
like blowing up, doing damage to you, and then bringing stuff back to then die again and blow up. Yeah, that's really
Yeah,
fun.
I like it. Ah, Team Troggboss. So that's Stuart Hodgins. That's the big Trog himself. Um, who's running Cruel Boys and Gloomspite Gits. So, Stuart, let's talk about it because it's
Another
another
cog.
list.
Is there any differences? Is my
Yeah,
question.
so he's got one Dankold Troggoth as just a cheeky one. He's got that Trog Herd Heavies, and he's got the Moonshade Shaman, and he's got a unit of 3 Fell Waters. So instead of having a lot of Troggoths, he's Rockgut Troggoths. He's got a 1 reinforced block, then that Fell Water for obviously the debuffing purposes of its shooting attack, right?
Without starting fights, I prefer this list from the other Troggos. It's smarter. Just because he's gone, I'm going to utilize everything. The Fell Waters is a fantastic unit with a fantastic debuff, and it's a debuff that
Yeah.
will help his ally out.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
it's not just -1 save. I think people forget this. It's -1 save plus the unit cannot benefit from positive save multipliers.
Utter
So
chef's
suddenly
kiss. Utter chef's kiss.
suddenly it's not just -1 save. Suddenly you can't all out defense. You can't have Mystic Shield. You can't have Finest Hour.
Yeah.
Suddenly it all disappears, and that 4-up save thing becomes 5-up save. Then if you have any rend, often Fell Waters means that a unit's just not getting any saves against attack and is just dying. So having them is fantastic. The Dankold and Dankold Troggboss allows you to take that fantastic Warherd
Yeah.
or battalion to get an artifact.
Easy
Um,
extra artifact. And you know what? He's taken a Madcap Shaman with that itchy nuisance, which is just hilarious in my personal opinion.
and
Because
while, yeah, it's a fantastic list because while that Troggboss is swingy with D6 damage,
yeah,
that Dankold Troggoth is not swingy.
no,
4 attacks, but you can make him 5 attacks. Hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s, rend to D3 plus 3 damage.
yeah,
That'll do a lot of damage.
that's gonna do a lot of damage. And in the background, while all of this is running forward and swinging at you, what do you think the Cruel Boys list is gonna bring with a Big Yellers subfaction? Boom. He's got. Now, I'm surprised he didn't swing more into Bolt Boys, but he's still got enough Bolt Boys with a big hero support. So he's got that Snatcher Boss with Sludge Raker, Breaker Boss with Maya Boot Troggoth, and of course the Swamp Caller Shaman, which you should never go into Cruel Boys without at least one of those bad boys, probably two.
Well, the Marsh Crawler's interesting because they don't typically pick up the Marsh Crawler, but he's picked it up for his ally, I think,
Yeah, I think so.
as well as his own like monster units. What I love is there is real synergy here.
Oh, there's massive synergy. I think again, we talked about it before with a couple of the others, the Slanesh and Nurgle unit. This is definitely 2 lads. I think they're brothers as well. Anyway, it's obviously Big Stuart and Andy. These are 2 people that have sat down and they're like, we know what to do. They've put their list together with a purpose. These guys have.
Cruel Boys, you often think of them as just shooting, but they have some fantastic heroes, some fantastic monsters. But they can sometimes suffer from the fact that it's Rend 1, Rend 2. That Moonface Mommet, you mentioned it, the wizard, the -1 save, 12-inch aura debuff. There's the Fell Waters. There's a lot of debuffing going around, and that's a way of buffing your ally. And so that Maya Brute Troggoth is nasty as hell. The Sludge Raker Beast can pack a punch in combat. He's got the Bolt Boys to do some amount of shooting to add a bit of range to the army. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fantastic,
it's
fantastic combo. I love it.
fantastic. And again, I think that's the second shooting unit that can actually output good damage at range, like that we've
Yeah.
seen, which is quite interesting. And also additional mount trait as an enhancement, which I think Cruel Boys tend to do a lot, because some of their mount traits are bloody amazing.
Interestingly, he's not gone faster. And he's gone. I don't want to speed ahead of the my boys. I don't want to speed ahead because my ally only moves 6 inches.
Yeah,
I'm going to take a AOE raw and a -1 to hit if I get charged.
yeah,
So it's really smart. But like that tells me that they're thinking about the fact that it's a doubles.
yeah,
If it
definitely.
was just a regular list, you'd probably take Fasten on that
Yeah,
Troggboss, that Mire Brute. But they've really gone, actually, no, we don't. We're going to be walking up, shooting, and forcing the enemy to come to us.
yeah.
All right, brilliant. Next
Yeah,
one.
brilliant. Boom, boom. Okay, so next is the Sad Bananas. The second last list we're looking at. So Alan Hancock's and Chris Smith, another Iron Jaws and a Stormcast Eternals. Knights Excelsior this time, however. It's a Knight Incanter again, great unit, especially with this GHB and limiting battle tactics. Knight Incanter is always going to be bloody great. Lord Imperator, again, he's got some Annihilators. Points wise, that's not the Annihilators with Grand Hammers because
No,
they're 200,
so
so they're the shields.
they're the shield variant. What's interesting here is the Grand Hammers went down some amount of points.
Yeah,
The Annihilators went down a lot of
a
points. The shield
lot
variant,
of points.
the Imperator and the Annihilators. This list has saved about 300 points. No joke.
No, genuinely, it's monstrous. Like that Annihilator, 6 of them with a 2-up save.
Yeah, so what he's gone is I'm not going to do as much damage in the combat phase with those Annihilators because I lose a rend and I lose a damage.
Yeah,
I'm rend 1 on 2 damage, but I can get more of them in. I can do I still do the deep strike, come down, do mortals in an AoE. I still do the ogre charge. Interests me that he's reinforced one of them rather than go for 3 units.
yeah, I thought you took 3, but
I'm guessing that Annihilator unit, when it comes down, it's going to pin a lot of things. If you haven't got a way to do mortals to that unit of 6, I guess that's a really good way of tying something up because that's suddenly 18 wounds on a 2-up save.
yeah,
Um,
unless you've got mortals, or unless you've got the big high rends of Iron Jaws, or the Gits with their Fell Waters and some big Trogoffs coming in.
what's the
Like,
Holy Command? Because he's got 3 different options or 4
another
different.
non-holy command.
What is going on with these Stormcast players and the Holy
Please,
Command?
we beg you, put the holy command in because it is
No, I
genuinely.
mean it's fair. I go to a lot of tournaments that are bigger and expect that professionalism. This is
Yeah,
you starting out. It's fine.
maybe next year. Maybe next year. But what
It,
does
it's
this?
in. I don't know what Holy Command he goes for. This one's really not obvious because he's got the 5 Judicators, so they could be fighting twice,
Yeah,
firing twice. He's got the Vanquishers that he could bring back if he wants to add a bit more beef to the list. He's got the +1
Annihilators
attack
for
for
+1 attack.
the Annihilators. Yeah, interesting, fun,
Yeah.
cool.
This one confuses me though. The Master of Magic Arcane Tome.
Well, Stormcast really struggle with their command traits. They haven't really got very good command traits. So he's gone. You know what? I'm taking the Arcane Tome. I might as well take Master of Magic. So re-rolling Mystic Shield.
This guy, Chris Smith, very close to Calvin Smith, which is my name. Clearly, someone that has been eyeing up my idea, except even better because he didn't bring Zogrog. But he's got the Oracle Chanter, Get and Beat classic again. He went for Hulking Brute instead of my Mighty War Leader, and he's got the Destroyer artifact. So overall, same heroes minus Zogrog. He also doesn't have the Ragers and decided to up his 2 units of Brutes to 10s. Fantastic. They'll do a lot of damage. They're going to go in really hard, especially on the Turbo Wow. And he's also got a big pig. Love it.
Love it. Love it.
I love everything about this. I mean, obviously, we talked about it before with my list, and it's more or less the same. He's got the Iron Suns again, so it really helps the Gouger out and keeping its momentum up and up and up. I just think it's really good. The 10 Brutes, especially with his list pairing, maybe he wants those big 10 Brutes, so the Annihilators go in, pin something down, and then the Brutes come in and just rip them up and pull them up out of the ground.
I worry on some of the battle plans that have multiple objectives on the field. These two lists want just to fight over three objectives or two objectives. They
Yeah.
don't want to fight over multiple.
Fountains of
Um,
Frost will be very hard for this list for sure.
yeah, you've chosen. What I liked that you picked the variation of battle tactics that punish kind of these bricky ideas.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a great list. I love it.
I
It'll
like
do
it as
well.
well. I think I really enjoy this list, and it'll be nice to see another big pig. Honestly, really enjoy those lists. The last one that we have is the Squig Lords. So that's a Gloomspite Gits and Illumineth Realm Lords Geometrica. Flipping out.
So we finally got representation of all three armies I own in real life.
There you go. So you can tell me more about Lumineth, because I would never ever learn how they play, because they're disgusting wizards. So Jaws of Mork with Craig Baton. That's a Madcap Shaman, Squig Boss, big unit of Boinglock Rounders, big unit of Squig Herd, small unit of Bounders, and he's got an Acolytes battalion as well.
I was just about to say, it's interesting that he's decided to double up on the shamans, and I think he's done it for the acolytes.
I mean, he's done it for the Acolytes because he wants Hoarfrost.
He's not like Squig Lore is fine. It's not that big. What's big is that Hoarfrost. The Squig Boss, giving out the buffs, and then the reinforced units of Boinglock Bounders is going to be deadly. The Squig Herd deadly, and then a single unit of 5 Boinglock Bounders. Yeah, great list. Buff and go. Buff and go.
Buff and go. Okay, you're going to have to lead this one because I have no bloody idea. So we've got Eumetrica, Spellcasting Savant, Stone Mage, and Alvador. Jesus, I love it.
This is fantastic. I love this. So we've been talking about one person being the anvil, one person being the hammer. This guy's gone. I'm going to take both roles. Well,
I agree. He's taken both roles. He's tanky. He output damage, and you know what? He's probably done that and been like, the Gits player can just run havoc in the background then, while he does the objectives and killing off key things. The Gits player can just annoy and do exactly what he wants.
Interesting. What did he go for? Command traits and artifacts. That interesting.
So he's got Enduring, Molten Talisman. He's obviously picked up Merciless Blizzard. Fantastic. 2 Alarith Stone Guard, which they're quite.
So this is really interesting to me. He's gone for normally for Lumineth players, of a certain skill level. He's gone for what is arguably the worst of the three, but I really do see it in this meta. Little heroes, people are going to be thinking about the fact that you've got a foot heroes, and they're going to be coming in with their croaks, their cannons, their deep striking abilities. Just getting extra 3 wounds to a model might pushes it over the edge from 5 wounds to 8 wounds. Means it's not just going to get one-shotted by just a random D6 attack or 2 D3s or whatnot. I like it. Normally you would get the extra wound for your infantry, but then because you're not reinforcing your infantry, that's not a big deal. Sometimes you go for the extra missile weapon on Avlanor, 2s and 2s, Ren 2, D6 damage. He's gone, no, I just want my Stone Mage to have extra wounds to allow Avlanor to fight at full bracket, as long as he's within range of this Stone Mage.
I'm all about that, because surely he's moving up with Alinor. He's got that Blizzard as well, so he's basically saying, if Alvanor doesn't kill you and it comes around to my hero phase again, I'm going to try to smash your teeth in as well.
This is a Lumineth player that understands the assignment. They understand that they're 1,000 points. Usually, if you go Geometrica, you're going for that spell, Unbreakable Stoicism, to give your Stone Guard mortal wounds on 5s in addition. But he's gone, nope, that's not the assignment today. The assignment is, I'm just going to go Blizzard, because Blizzard is a super strong spell. It's going to annihilate any.
Too good.
I didn't say broken. It's your tournament, not mine.
I would never say something's broken.
I would have house ruled Blizzard to not be in the game if I was running a tournament. But he's gone Blizzard. Again, the issue with Blizzard is it can backlash if you roll a 1, take D3. You can't stop it. So having 8 wounds is massive there. It
Culture.
means he's probably not going to die from a single blizzard, and then he can heal up and then blizzard again. The Stone Guard are surprisingly tanky for 130 points. They ignore Ren 2, reduce Ren by 2, so they've got 4-up save, so you're most likely going to be on a 3-up save with the Ether Quartz.
Yeah.
So tanky. Total Eclipse, you've highlighted it,
I've got to talk about, again, arguably, I would say one of the top 5 spells in the game, regardless of how well it's taken. The ability to just be there like, oh, 2 CP, not 1, it's just ridiculous in my opinion. Fantastic though, because again, like you said, he's understood the assignment. He doesn't need the mortal wounds on those 10 sentinels. He's there to do a little bit of harass, use Total Eclipse, and punish the enemy team.
And Avlanor is, if the enemy doesn't bring mortals to the table,
Yeah,
Avlanor is the single most tankiest thing on the that we've seen so far, by far.
yeah, I would say so.
Free up save, ignore Ren 2, packs an absolute punch, has a -1 to hit aura. Glottos is a close second because he's got a 5 ward save.
He's got that 5 ward, and he's got the -2 to hit, obviously, once depravity's high enough.
Depravity. Yeah, so it's very, very interesting to me. This is, I love it.
The
this
real
is great.
question is, do you think Avanor can smash in the teeth of every other monster, barring Marathi, because Marathi's boring, that we've seen in the tournament?
Yes, I do. As long as because if he doesn't charge, he gets +1 attack.
Yeah.
He can be a bit whiffy, but the thing is, if the opponent is not making their saves, it's 5 damage every single time. That's a huge just whack, whack, whack.
Yeah.
Every time you fail an armor save, it's just 5 damage.
Well, we talked about Destroyer earlier on, and how you've always got to keep an eye out for Destroyer. He always has Destroyer on. Like that's just like it is that thing. You miss a save, you're fucked in a lot of ways for a lot of teams. So obviously we've went through everything. We've sped up towards the end because,
we're both busy men.
we're both busy men. Okay, so
I love it.
What you've seen?
I absolutely love it. The variety of I know we were joking about how much Nurgle and Seraphon and Soulblight there are, but even amongst those lists, there were differences, real differences, on all of them. There's some great. I love the fact that there's a high variety of people just randomly banding together and going, "Oh, this is what I've got painted, so we're bringing this," or "I just want to bring this," and self-contained. To actual, well thought out, well constructed. Well, we can actually really tap into each other's army books and bring something unique to the table in our 2,000 point army. So there's some fantastic ideas going around, and
I'm with you. I think really fantastic ideas. Like I said, I want to hone in on that thing of just being like, you can see some people have genuinely taken the time to be like, all right, how do I take doubles to a high skill tier? How can my army benefit my teammates' army a lot?
I think that's what stood out to me, because when you told me the concept, I thought, oh, okay, you've done it because it's going to be a great laugh.
Yeah.
You and your friend having who doesn't like just standing and having a good time with your friend, laughing about the triumphs and crying about the failures, and mildly getting angry because you put your trees down and now I can't put my temple down.
That's going to happen. I know that's going to happen.
Or put the temple down and now I can't put my trees down.
Yeah.
No, I honestly am blown away by the level of depth that people have really thought about this format. It's great that you've kind of come up with this format because, sometimes you can feel like the meta is solved. By adding a simple twist to it,
it's a nice way to keep things fresh, because obviously singles, I do genuinely think that's the problem with having a year GHB. You do the meta is solved, quote unquote. Like, you do understand what everything is now. Teams obviously gives that little bit of variation, because lists don't need to specifically be everything. They can just be a one-trick pony, and that's what teams does. But I do like that this makes you think. It makes you think of combining armies, what works, where you can fill your holes. Lol. I'm
sat here not knowing the winning list, which is fantastic to me.
That was going to be my next question. Who would you peg? Okay. Instead of saying who do you think is going to win, who's your favourite list? Who is the favourite team?
I think the Slash and Nurgle,
the Go-Go Team Chaos.
the archers backed up by the Glutos and the archers backed up by the Blight Kings. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
is it the strongest list we've seen?
probably not.
Probably not. Is it the most going to be looking fantastic, like complementary armies to each other? Yeah,
Yeah, I
and it's
think so.
taken Blight King. Like people don't tend to run the Blight Kings, and I think the Blight Kings will shine. I really do.
I think so as well. I think you said it there. Like, it's not the strongest list that we've looked across. There's plenty of stronger lists, but team wise, if they play well, that's a tough team to beat. That's a really tough team to beat.
I think individually the lists aren't the strongest, but together, I
Yeah,
think that they've got a great combination going there.
really good synergy. I think mine, it's difficult. I love a lot of these lists, but I think I'm actually genuinely going to hand it to a Sublime Time with Slime and Shine, not just because of the name. The name is
Yeah,
fantastic.
it's the name, man. It's the name. You come with the
Um,
name.
but I genuinely think they've got the perfect role system. They are a hammer and anvil. Like, the Guo is going to sit back, sit on objectives. It's going to do its thing. It's going to score battle tactics with Beast and Nurgle going out to the sides, getting sad, getting into the vortex, sort of things. And then the Stormcast Eternal just does what he does. He charges forward with three very efficient War Scrolls, and they'll just do damage. Like, they will catch people out if you don't properly screen. They're going to catch people out, and I think that could be really devastating.
I mean, listen, we could have picked anything. You've got the croak lists, you've got the slang
Oh,
lists, you've got
the
the
Marathi.
the Marathi and the Magma Droffs. You've got the Orc players, which I think add a lot. Like the
Big
Orc players
pig,
can add a
big
lot
pig.
to the list. You've got the Gloomspite Gits adding a lot to their list. Yeah, no, I think there's going to be some massive great games on the top tables. I
I,
really do.
Absolutely, I think it'll be really interesting. I think, especially in the doubles, anything sort of can happen here. I think you could see someone finishing top that genuinely we're not expecting. There's someone, so I'm guaranteed, now that we've said all this, the Nighthaunt Slanesh one that we were like, how does it do damage? That comes top, and we look like utter fools.
They're, I'll be honest. I think they're going to have to play out their goddamn mind. Not
They
that
will.
not that I'm not going to poo-poo anyone's list, and that's not what I'm here to do.
No, no.
But I do think they're going to have to play it so smart, because if they try to play the conventional way, they're going to get hammered.
Yeah.
Um,
But if they
they
do play
have
it their way, I think, and again, it is that thing where in this doubles format, even the really good lists, if you go into the wrong person,
Yeah. I
it's,
mean,
it's game over.
they have the tools to win. They just need to utilize those tools to the best of their abilities.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
there's no middle ground. If they don't use it to the best of their abilities, they'll crumble. But um, yeah, I love it. There's some fantastic lists.
Awesome.
I was blown away by the innovation and the variety.
No, that's
All
awesome, and it was awesome having you here, getting you to hear thoughts. Obviously, being able to fact check me because I get things wrong. We all do. But also just the fact that you have a lot of insight into like things like Nighthaunt, Lumineth that I'm really not going to know much about, and the best part about all of this is the people that you did kick the ass at the last tournament are going to see you talking about their lists and be like, I'm not allowed to beat him until next year, which is really frustrating.
Hey, if you keep putting on fantastic tournaments like these, I promise I'll be back. I'll be
Oh,
back.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, so we'll quickly sign off the video then because it's probably gone on far long enough, and anyone still watching is an utter hero. Not that I would expect you to keep watching, but anyone that does, looking forward to seeing you at the tournament. And yeah, thank you very much. See you later. Peace. Say goodbye, Sprog.
Bye.